So, hello everyone. Today we are going to continue with the studies of world map, especially in the prelims perspective. Okay. So last class we have already discussed about bordering countries and oceans and seas. So in this class, we would be continuing with canals and straits, isthmus, international lakes, we'll be covering this canals, straits, isthmus, and international lakes today. Okay, because I think this itself would be a very large topic, and in the next session we'll continue with regions and news. So with that, we'll be able to conclude what all the important places which we have to learn in the world map. Okay, so basically, I know it would not completely cover all the prelims perspective questions, but rather we'll be able to tackle all the questions whichever is asked. Okay, so we'll have some options to eliminate and arrive at the answer. Okay, so let's start with canal, straits, and isthmus. Okay, so yes, what are straits and isthmus? You must really understand this concept very well because this was asked in mains as well. Okay, so straits are actually a narrow body of water that connects two large bodies of water. That means there are two bodies of water. There is two oceans or two seas, and the narrow strip of water between the land which connects these two water bodies, big water bodies, is what? Straits. Okay? An example of it is the Strait of Gibraltar. Okay, we'll see the details, like more examples. First, just understand this concept. Okay, then we have what? The isthmus. So, we told straits are between two bodies of water and it is a narrow body of water. But what is isthmus? It is actually a narrow strip of land. Okay, so there are two land, that is two continents or two huge land masses, and when the narrow strip of land connects these two big land masses between the water bodies, this is called what? Isthmus. Okay, so narrow strip of water is what? The straits, and it connects two water bodies, and isthmus is narrow strip of land and it connects to what? The land masses. Okay, so an example is the famous Isthmus of Panama. Okay, we'll see other examples as well. Clear? Okay, so I'll just show you a picture of this. So you can see this is a strait. So there are two water bodies and there are also land. So this narrow strip of water between these two are called what? Straits. Now, if you take in the case of isthmus, so yes, there are two big land masses and there's water all around, but there is a narrow strip of land which connects these two land masses. For example, Panama. Panama actually connects the big land masses of North America and the South America. Okay, so that is isthmus. Clear? Okay. Okay. So this was a question asked in last year's mains. It is mentioned the significance of straits and isthmus in international trade. Okay, so this is the kind of question UPSC asks. So in prelims perspective, they'll ask about the location and things, but in mains, they're asking about the significance. Okay, so I just wanted to give you an idea about the question. You just have to write, so whenever you're like writing an answer for such a question, a map which indicates all the main important straits and isthmus would suffice. Like that will be very important to add. Okay, so when you're studying about straits and isthmus in the prelims point of view, you can use the same data for what? For making a map for UPSC mains answer. Clear? So they've asked the significance. So through a map, by adding a map into your answer, you can also speak about the strategic location of these straits and isthmus, how it is part of the international sea lines of communication, etc. So that is how you can also illustrate the significance of what? Straits and isthmus. Clear? So we'll now see what are other straits, important straits and isthmuses. Clear? So we'll start with the straits. So actually there are lots of straits because we know like there are so many oceans and seas, right? But I've just identified a few important ones. Okay, which is especially important for prelims perspective. Okay, so I've just identified a few and we'll just go through those. Okay, so around 13 ones I've identified. So first is a Babel Mandap Strait. So few of them we would have already seen in the last session itself. Okay, and we spoke about what the regions of West Asia. These straits was there. Okay, so Bab el Mandab is there. Then Strait of Hormuz is there. Strait of Gibraltar, Bosphorus Strait, Dardanelles Strait, Strait of Dover, Malacca Strait, Park Strait, Sunda Strait, Strait of Florida, Bering Strait, Davis Strait, and Formosa Strait. Formosa is also called the Taiwan Strait. Okay, so these would be the straits we would be seeing today. Okay, yeah, so let's start. We'll start with the Bab el Mandab Strait. So do you remember where the location of Bab el Mandab Strait? Okay, before that, I'll just give you a broad picture of all the locations. Yes, so you have the Davis Strait somewhere around on the top of North America. Then Strait of Florida is here. Okay, there's Gulf of Mexico, and here there is Florida. So Strait of Florida is here. Strait of Dover is between UK and France. So that is in where European region. Here you have what? Between Europe and Africa, you have the Strait of Gibraltar, then the Bosphorus and Dardanelles Strait. Here you have what? Bab el Mandab Strait, the Strait of Hormuz. See this in data, don't worry, okay? Then Taiwan Strait is here, okay? Which connects the East China Sea and the South China Sea. Then Malacca Strait is there. Sunda Strait is there. And here this one is a Park Strait. Okay, so yeah, let's start with what? The Bab el Mandab Strait. So do you remember this strait when we studied in last class? Okay, so you can see the location of Bab el Mandab Strait. See, it's here. It's between Africa and Asia. That is especially the the Gulf countries and the African countries. Okay, so we'll see about it. So this is one of the detailed map of Bab el Mandab. Okay, so on one side we have what? Yemen, and another side we have what? Djibouti. Okay, and which are the two water bodies it connects? It connects Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. Okay, so Bab el Mandab Strait connects the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden. Remember Gulf of Aden? Aden was the old name of Yemen, right? So Gulf of Aden means it will be next to what? Yemen. Okay, so between Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden, it is connected by Bab el Mandab. Okay, so basically joins Red Sea and Gulf of Aden, and it is located between Yemen and Djibouti. Clear? Yes, that is the Bab el Mandab Strait. Okay. Now the next one is the Strait of Hormuz. So where is Strait of Hormuz? We saw it when we saw the Persian Gulf. Okay. You can see it's here. Okay. Oh, remember one more thing I have to add here. Okay, I'll just tell it here. See, this Bab el Mandab Strait. Okay, if you're talking about this strait is actually what? An important point in the trade. Okay, because the international sea line of communication, that is the trade route, goes like this. Because we have the Suez Canal here, we'll see that, and the most of the trades from that is Europe or America. It goes like, I'll show you. It goes here. It goes like this. It goes from here like this. It goes through the Suez Canal, through the Bab el Mandab Strait to India, to this what? Malacca Strait to China. And reverse, like from China to Malacca Strait to the Indian Ocean, like this it goes. Okay, and even from the US, it goes like this. Okay, to the US. So this is how the sea lines of communication or the trade route happens. So Bab el Mandab Strait is very important in this regard. Okay, clear? Yes. Now, yes, the Strait of Hormuz. Yes, the Strait of Hormuz is also important. Why? Because this region is rich in oil, right? This Persian Gulf or Persian region, the Arab countries are very rich in oil, and through this is how the highest trade happens with regard to what? The oil. India, especially to India. So Strait of Hormuz to India, we have what? The oil trade route. Okay, so we'll see the Strait of Hormuz. So you can see the Strait of Hormuz here, right? It's between Persian Gulf and Gulf of Oman. Okay, and it also which are the land borders between the Strait of Hormuz? On top we have the Iran, and on bottom we have Oman. Okay, the small part here is actually Oman. Okay, UAE does not touch that. The small pointed part is Oman. So it's between Persia or Iran and Oman. Okay, and on one side we have the Persian Gulf, and Another side we have Gulf of Oman, and the Strait of Hormuz connects these two water bodies. Clear? Okay. Yes. Next one is the Strait of Gibraltar. Okay. So we have already learnt about what? The Strait of, yes, Hormuz, and what? The Strait of Bab el-Mandeb. Okay. Next one is the Strait of Gibraltar. Yes. So where is the Strait of Gibraltar? Yes, it's somewhere here. Okay. So this is Africa, and this is what the, yes, European countries. Okay. So Strait of Gibraltar is also significant because from UK, that is during, especially during what, the independence, I mean before independence, the trade route from UK was through this Strait of Gibraltar. Okay. It was going through the Suez Canal, and this, and even now it is very simple because more than, I think, 80% of the trade happens through this route, the whole trade in the world. Okay. Okay. Now we'll see Strait of Gibraltar. Okay, so this is the Strait of Gibraltar. You can see, right? Okay. So one side we have Spain, and another side we have who? Morocco. So the landmass which borders the Strait of Gibraltar is Spain and Morocco. Okay, and this is very important, especially if you're talking about the world history point of view. All the tussle between Spain and Morocco. Okay, Spain tried to capture Morocco, and they failed. All those things. Okay, this happened because it's very close, and they were actually what? There were so many issues between them. Okay, and which water bodies does the Strait of Gibraltar connect? On one side, we have the Mediterranean Sea and Atlantic Ocean on the other side. So Mediterranean Sea is linked to Atlantic Ocean through the Strait of Gibraltar. Okay, but another interesting fact here is Gibraltar. This Gibraltar is under the control of UK. Although Spain and Morocco is the bordering countries, this Gibraltar, okay, there's a small place called Gibraltar here. It is under UK. Okay, clear? Even the Suez Canal region was under under the authority of UK and France, but now it's given to Egypt. Okay, so yes, that is what the Strait of Gibraltar. So it joins Mediterranean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean, and it is located where? Between Spain and Morocco. Clear? Okay. Now we will move on to the next state, that is the Bosphorus Strait. Okay. For this year's prelims, I mean, this Bosphorus Strait is important not just for this year's prelim. Like if you take the last few years, this was actually news. Why? I told you in the last session, right? It is because this is where what the Ukraine is. Okay, you can see the location of Bosphorus Strait. So you have Russia and Ukraine here, and yes, the Bosphorus Strait here. And who does it connect? Yes, which sea is there? We have the Black Sea. So Black Sea is connected to the Sea of Marmara. Okay, through this Bosphorus Strait, and which is in turn is connected to who? The Mediterranean Sea. Okay, so we have Black Sea, Bosphorus Strait, and Sea of Marmara. Okay, and it is controlled by who? It is under Turkey. Okay, it is between Turkey, land border of Turkey. This whole thing is Turkey, and between that we have the Bosphorus Strait. Here, so we have Black Sea is connected to Sea of Marmara. Okay, through Bosphorus Strait. So this is very important. Okay, clear. Then we have the Dardanelles Strait. Okay, so we spoke about Bosphorus Strait. So Bosphorus Strait is connected to who? The Sea of Marmara. Okay, but how is it connected to the Mediterranean Sea or the Aegean Sea? You can see here there is Bosphorus Strait, and here it is the Dardanelles Strait. Okay, so that means, yes, you can see here, Sea of Marmara. So Black Sea is connected to Sea of Marmara. Again, Sea of Marmara is connected to Aegean Sea through the Dardanelles Strait. Clear? Okay, so Sea of Marmara is there, then Aegean Sea. So then it is connected to the Mediterranean Sea. Okay, so both Dardanelles Strait and Bosphorus. Okay, yeah. So that means Dardanelles Strait joins the Marmara Sea and the Aegean Sea, and This is also located within Turkey. Okay, you can see the land boundary of Turkey here. This whole thing is Turkey. Okay, so both Bosphorus Strait and Dardanelles Strait is within Turkey. Clear? So just remember like this: Black Sea, Bosphorus Strait, Sea of Marmara. Then we have what Dardanelles Strait, and then we have who the Aegean Strait. Clear? Okay. Okay. Yes. Now we move on. So these few are the most important straits, which especially for the prelims point of view. Okay. Then we'll also see other important straits as well, few of them. Okay. Next one is the Strait of Dover. So where is Strait of Dover? Yes, it is below the UK and between UK and France. Okay, you can see it here. Okay. So yes, so Strait of Dover actually connects the English Channel and the North Sea. Okay, so English Channel is very significant for UK in terms of trade. Okay, so it actually not just UK but also the European countries. Okay, so it actually connects the English Channel and the North Sea. Okay, so the Strait of Dover. Okay, it is named after the city of Dover in UK. Okay. Yes, then it is between who? England and France. So we have England on top and France at the bottom. Yeah, so that is Strait of Dover. Next is the Malacca Strait. This is also very important. Okay, because this is one of the choking points of the world. This is called the choking points. Why? You can see Malacca Strait is somewhere around here. Okay, you can see it's here. Okay. So you see the location. See, there is Malaysia and Indonesia and Singapore. So this region, it's very narrow, it's very thin. That is why it is called the choking point. And this narrow, very narrow water body is the Strait of Malacca. Okay. And since China is one of the biggest exporters in the world, all the trade, most of the trade of China goes through this Malacca Strait. Okay, and yes, apart from that, all the trade between the East and the West, that is East, we say the East nations, right? China and the Southeast Asian nation, and the West, that is US and the West Asian countries like Europe, etc., happens through this strait. So East and West is connected to the Malacca Strait. Okay, and since it's very thin, it is called a choking point. Okay, so we have what? So which sea does it connect? Which sea does it connect? So here we have the Andaman Sea and here we have the South China Sea. So Andaman Sea is connected to China Sea, South China Sea through who? The Strait of Malacca. Clear? Okay. Then it is also located between who? The Malaysia and Indonesia. And also there is also a small part of Singapore also. Okay. And this is the significance of Strait of Malacca. That is one of the reasons why Singapore has become what? One of the most strategic locations for trade. Clear? Okay. Yes. So that is the Strait of Malacca. Okay. And remember, this is which part of Indonesia? The Sumatra. Okay. So Sumatra and this Malaysia and Singapore. Clear? Okay. Next important strait is the Park Strait. Okay. This is more important in India's perspective. Okay. So where is Park Strait? Yes, Park Strait is actually between India and Sri Lanka. You can see it somewhere around here. It's actually between South India and Sri Lanka. Okay. So yes, although this is not directly part of sea lines of communication, they are trying to develop what? Connectivity through what? Park Strait. Okay. Yes, you can see it here, Park Strait. Okay. So who does it connect? Yes, it connects Park Bay and Gulf of Mannar. So we have Park Bay here and Gulf of Mannar, and Park Strait connects these two water bodies. It is part of what? Bay of Bengal. Okay. Then yes, it is between who? India and Sri Lanka. Clear? Okay. Yes, so you can see it here. So this is the Park Strait. So we are on top, we have who? The Park Bay, and on bottom we have the Gulf of Mannar. So this narrow strait connects who? Park Bay and Gulf of Mannar. Clear? And remember, in India, if you're talking, this is the Rameshwaram and the Pamban Bridge, or the famous Adams Bridge. Okay. So yes, this part is the Rameshwaram. Is it tip? Remember, it's not Kanyakumari. Many people get confused. Okay, if you're talking it is at the bottom, means it's not Kanyakumari. It is Rameshwaram. Okay. So Rameshwaram is connected to Sri Lanka through the through the Adams Bridge. Okay. And yes, this as actually there's a water body. It is Park Street. Okay. So Gulf. Yeah. When we spoke about environment, Gulf of Mannar is actually a marine national park. So this is actually this region is very significant. Okay, especially in films. Okay. Then we have the Vaipa River, etc., which is flowing into this region. Okay. Then the famous Tuticorin post. Here we have Tuticorin. This Tuticorin port. Okay. It is located here in the Gulf of Mannar region. Okay. Here. Yes. Okay. So that is Park Strait. Now the Sunda Strait. Okay. That would be Sunda Strait. We saw the Sunda Islands, Lesser Sunda Islands last class, right? So you can see it's below the Malacca Strait. Okay, to the next of the Malacca Strait, we have the Sunda Strait. Okay, so here there is Malacca Strait and there is Sunda Strait here. Okay, so this is what? Sunda Strait is a strait between who? Yes, within the Indonesia itself, but between the Sumatra and Java Islands. So this is a Sumatra Island and this is Java Island. So this is located between the Sumatra and Java Islands. Okay, and which sea does it link? It links the Java Sea and the Indian Ocean. Clear? So Java Sea and the Sunda Strait is between who? Java Sea and Indian Ocean. Okay, and one more strait here. Yes, it is the Lombok Strait. So I have not added any extra slide for that. Just remember, Lombok Strait is also in the Indonesian region, and it is between who? There is one, you know the name Bali, right? You have heard somewhere. So it is a strait between the landmass Bali and Lombok Islands in Indonesia. And also this also connects what? The Java Sea and the Indian Ocean. Okay. So both Sunda Strait and the Lombok Strait are connects who? The Java Sea and Indian Ocean. Okay. Clear? Clear? Okay. So yes, let's move on. Okay, so we have 3 straits in and around Indonesia, which is important. That is one is Strait of Malacca, Sunda Strait, and the Lombok Strait. Okay. Now, yes, the next important one is in America, in the US, that is the Strait of Florida. Okay. So you can see this one is the Strait of Florida. It's somewhere along the Gulf of Mexico, US and Mexico. Okay. So you can see the Strait of Florida. Okay. So here we have the Gulf of Mexico, and this one is what? In the Atlantic Ocean. So Strait of Florida connects the Gulf of Mexico to who? It connects the Gulf of Mexico to the Atlantic Ocean. Okay. And yes, Florida. Where is Florida? We all know it is in US, right? So this would be between who? The US and the Cuba. Okay, you can see Cuba is here at the bottom. Okay, so this strait is located between US and Cuba. Okay, clear? Okay, so that is Strait of Florida. So remember which bodies it connects? Gulf of Mexico and Atlantic Ocean. Okay, and it is located between USA and Cuba. Okay. Then we also have the Davis Strait. Davis Strait, don't get confused with Dover Strait. Okay, Strait of Dover. This is Davis Strait. Okay, so where is Davis Strait? Yes, you can see here. Okay, this is the Davis Strait above the North America between Greenland and Canada. Okay, so you have the famous Davis Strait here. Okay, here this is the Davis Strait. Okay, it actually connects to the Arctic Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, that means Baffin Bay and Atlantic Ocean. Okay, Baffin Bay to Atlantic Ocean. Okay, So you must also see the Hudson Bay here. This is also very famous. Okay, Hudson Bay, Baffin Bay, and Labrador Sea. Have you heard about the Labrador Current, which is a cold current in the Atlantic Ocean? Okay, so this is where the Labrador current comes from. That is Labrador Sea area. Okay, so yes, that is what the Davis Strait, and between whom? Yes, the Greenland and Canada. Okay, Davis Strait is located between Greenland and Canada. Here, yes, so we have the Baffin Bay, connects Baffin Bay and Atlantic Ocean between landmasses Greenland and Canada. So don't get confused with Dover Strait. Okay, this is Davis Strait. Okay. Then we have the famous Bering Strait. So where is Bering Strait? Yes, it is here. Okay, this is Asia. This is the US. The small water body. This is the only connection between who? Yes, Asia and US, the two continents. Okay, and there's a narrow water body between these two, and that is the Bering Strait. Okay, so we can see, yes, the Bering Strait. So yes, you can see on one side we have Russia, and on another side we have the US, that is Alaska part of the US. And there's the small water body between these two called the Bering Strait. Okay, so which sea does it connect? Yes, the Pacific Ocean and the Arctic Ocean. And these are the oceans which it connects. The seas which it connects is the Bering Sea and the Chukchi Sea. The Chukchi Sea is part of the Arctic Ocean, and Bering Sea is part of the Pacific Ocean. Okay, so basically Bering Strait what connects the Bering Sea and the Chukchi Sea. Bering Sea is part of Pacific Ocean, and Chukchi Sea is part of the Arctic Ocean, and this Bering Strait connects these two. Okay, clear? Okay, yes. And where is it located? Yes, we have the East Siberia here, the Siberian part. Yes, the Russia and yes, Alaska or the US. Okay. Or not, it actually connects to the Asian continent and it is actually between the Asian continent and yes, the North American continent. So one interesting thing you can see here is you can see this dotted line here, right? Yes, this is the international date line. Okay, so that means on Russian side we have another date, on US side we have another date. Okay, so this is the and why is it bent here? International date line. Okay, the rest of the world map, it is the straight. It is a straight line. Here it is bent because there should be a division between who? The Russian side or the Asian continent and the American continent. This is the only region where there is a what? There is where we cannot clearly demarcate it. So there is a bend. Okay, so that means what? If in US it is Sunday, it will be Monday in Russia. Okay, this same place, but on this side it will be Sunday, this side it will be Monday. Okay, clear? That is how it is. Okay. Yes, so that is the Bering Strait. Okay. Next is the Formosa Strait, or also called the Taiwan Strait. Okay. Yes. So we studied about the east. You can see here, Taiwan Strait is toward the east of China. Okay. So it actually connects who? Yes, the East China Sea and the South China Sea. Okay, so you have the East China Sea on top and the South China Sea at the bottom. So this Taiwan Strait actually connects the East China Sea and the South China Sea. Okay, and it is located between who? Yes, China and Taiwan. Okay, so Taiwan is here and China is here. Okay, so why is it significant? Is above this we have the who? We studied in last class, the Senkaku Islands, right? The famous Senkaku Islands of East China Sea. Okay, it's about the strait, Taiwan Strait. Yeah. Okay. So, yes, that was actually in news. And Taiwan Strait is also usually in news because of our Chinese influence. Okay. Republic of China's influence. Okay. So, yeah. So, yes, this Taiwan Strait connects to East China Sea and South China Sea. That is. Okay. So, these were the most important straits so far. Okay. So, I wouldn't suggest to remember like what? It is not actually possible to study all the states, right? So you must remember at least these 13 states, states. Okay. So we just have a quick revision of this. Okay. Okay, let's start it off here. So we have the Babel Mandap Strait. So yes. Where is it, Babel Mandap Strait? It connects Red Sea and Gulf of Aden, and it is around West Asia. Okay. So we have what? On one side we have Yemen, and another side we have Ethiopia. Djibouti. Okay. So it connects the Asian and African continents. Between the Asian and African continent, it connects Red Sea and Gulf of Aden. And it is very important in terms of what the trade or sea lines of communication. Next one is what? The Strait of Hormuz. It is between the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. Okay. And it is between which land bodies? Yes, Iran or the Persia and Oman. Okay. Remember, it's not UAE, it is Oman. Okay, there's a small part of Oman on top. Next, the Strait of Gibraltar. It is between which it connects. It is between Europe and it's between Europe and Morocco. And the water bodies it connects is to the Mediterranean. On one side we have Mediterranean Sea, and on the other side we have the Atlantic Ocean. So you can see here. Okay, and which are the countries which borders it? Spain and Morocco. Remember, Gibraltar is under the control of who? Yes, the UK. Okay, so Spain, Morocco on one side, Mediterranean Sea, and another side we have who? Yes, the Atlantic Ocean. Okay. Next is the Bosphorus Strait. It's very important. Okay, it connects to the Black Sea and the Sea of Marmara. Okay, so we have Black Sea, Bosphorus Strait, Sea of Marmara, and it is within Turkey. And Sea of Marmara is connected to the the Mediterranean Sea or the Aegean Sea through who? The Dardanelles Strait. So we have Black Sea, Strait of Bosphorus, Sea of Marmara, Dardanelles Strait, and Aegean Sea, which in turn is what? Connected to the Mediterranean. Yeah. And remember, both of these are within who? Turkey. Okay. Yes. Next is the Strait of Dover, which is the most important strait for UK. Okay. So it is below UK, between UK and France, and it connects who? The English Channel and the North Sea. Okay. Next is the Malacca Strait. This is also very important. Okay. Remember, it is between who? Malaysia and Singapore region and Indonesia and Sumatra part of Indonesia. Okay. And it connects the Andaman Sea and the South China Sea. Okay. Here. Okay. Apart from that, other two straits. Yeah. Okay. Then we have also spoke about the Park Strait. Park Strait is where between India and Sri Lanka. Okay. It connects the Park Bay and Gulf of Mannar. Okay. You can see it here. Then there is the other two straits in Indonesia. That is, we spoke about the Sunda Strait and the Lombok Strait. Sunda Strait is between the Indonesian islands of what? Java and Sumatra. And it connects who? The Java Sea and the Indian Ocean. Okay. Yes. Then we have the Lombok Strait, which is between who? Yes, the Bali Islands and the Lombok Islands. Okay, of Indonesia, and this one also connects to the Java Sea and the Indian Ocean. Clear? Okay. Yes. Next is the Straits of Florida. Yes, it is between who? Yes, US and Cuba, and also it connects to the Gulf of Mexico and Atlantic Ocean. Okay, Strait of Florida. Next is the Davis Strait. It is on top of who? It is on the top of it is as a cap to who? Yes, the Northern America. Okay, and it is between who? Yes, Greenland and Canada. Okay, and it connects Baffin Bay and Atlantic Ocean. Okay. Yes, the next important one is the Bering Strait. It is the only strait between who? The narrowest place between Asia and Asian continent and North American continent. And this strait divides Russia and US, Alaska part of US, and international date line passes through this, and it also connects Pacific Ocean and Arctic Ocean. That is Bering Sea of Pacific Ocean and Chukchi Sea of, Bering Sea of Pacific Ocean and Chukchi Sea of Arctic Ocean. Okay, Bering Sea and Chukchi Sea, and it is between who? Alaska and Russia. Bering Strait. Okay. Next one is, and the last one is the Formosa Strait or Taiwan Strait. It connects the what? Yes, the East China Sea and the South China Sea. Okay, Formosa Strait. Okay, and it is between who? China and Taiwan. Okay, here. It's clear, right? Okay. So you must learn at least these states. Okay. Next, we'll move on to all the important isthmus. So what was isthmus? Okay. We looked at the straits. Straits were narrow water bodies between two large water bodies. Okay. What? Between two lands. Okay. So narrow water body which connects two large water bodies between two pieces of land. Okay. So what is isthmus? This narrow land, okay, connecting two big land masses, and which is located between what water bodies. Okay, that is isthmus. Okay, so three important isthmus we'll be learning. That is Isthmus of Panama, the Kra Isthmus, and the Isthmus of Suez. Whatever it is, these three isthmus you must never forget, and you must always whenever there's some like geography question based on it, you must always be able to mark it. Okay, Isthmus of Panama, the Kra Isthmus, and the Isthmus of Suez. Okay. So this is the isthmus. You can see the location. So Isthmus of Panama, it's between who? The North America and the South America. Okay, so we have Isthmus of Panama here. Then we have Isthmus of Suez, which connects to the Africa and Asia, between Africa and Asia. Okay. Then Isthmus of Kra. Okay. Isthmus of Kra. Okay, it's actually a part of Thailand, next to who? The Malacca Strait. Okay. So we'll see each of these. So we'll start with the Isthmus of Panama. So yes, as you have seen, there is North America and a small strip of land, and then South of America, right? So yes, this Isthmus of Panama is this narrow part of land. Okay, and this is actually a country, Panama. Okay, now this is a country. It actually links who? North and South America. Okay, and who does it divide? So when it links to land bodies, it divides who? The big Atlantic Ocean on one side and Pacific Ocean on the other side. We have Atlantic Ocean on one side and the Pacific. Okay, clear? And above this, we have the Caribbean Sea, and below the Gulf of Panama. So if you are like too much interested, or if you are a geography optional student, you can look more into more details into this. But for now, just remember, it is the narrow strip of land which connects the North America and the South America. Okay, that is Isthmus of Panama. Okay, next one is the Kra Isthmus. Okay, the famous Kra Isthmus. So where is the Kra Isthmus? It is in Thailand. Okay, you can see this is Thailand. So we have on one side Andaman Sea, another side we have the Gulf of Thailand. Okay, and on bottom we have what? The Malaysia. Okay, so this narrow piece of land, which goes like this. Okay, so this whole region, this what? The Thailand, CMLB, that is Cambodia, Myanmar, Laos, Vietnam. This whole region is called the Malay Peninsula. Okay, and this small extension to the bottom is called the Isthmus of Kra. This narrow strip of land is called the Isthmus of Kra, the Kra Isthmus. Okay, so it is on the mainland Southeast Asia in Thailand. Okay, so it is in Southeast Asia and in Thailand. Okay, and it is the narrowest part of the Malay Peninsula. Okay, and who does it separate? On one side we have the Andaman Sea, which is part of what? The Indian Ocean, and on the side we have the Gulf of Thailand. Okay, so Gulf of Thailand on one side and Andaman Sea on another side. Okay, clear? Okay. Yes, that is the Kra Isthmus. The next one, the most important one, is the Isthmus of Suez. So yes, we would all have heard about Suez Canal, but very few of you would have heard about what the Isthmus of Suez, right? But there is actually Isthmus of Suez. So you can see this part, this small thin part, the most thinnest part. Okay, that is Isthmus of Suez. Okay, so yes, it is between North Africa and West Asia. It connects North Africa and West Asia. Yes, it is between which sea does it divide? On one side we have the big Mediterranean Sea, and on the other side we have the small part of Red Sea, which is in turn the Indian Ocean. Okay, so Mediterranean Sea and the Red Sea. Yes, it is towards the east of Suez Canal, this landmass. Okay, and yes, this is Red Sea here, and this part is the what? Gulf of Suez. Okay, and what does Gulf of Suez do? Yes, it separates the Egypt and the Sinai Peninsula. So yes, the Sinai Peninsula, this whole thing is part of Egypt. Okay, Isthmus of Suez is part of Egypt, and this here there you have the Gulf of Suez. We saw it in the last session itself. Here we have the Sinai Peninsula, and this side is Egypt. So this Sinai Peninsula part of Egypt is divided by this Gulf of Suez, and it is connected to Egypt through what? The Isthmus of Suez. Okay, the Sinai part is connected to Egypt through Isthmus of Suez. Clear? Yes. So yes, these were the three important isthmuses. So we spoke about Panama Isthmus, Isthmus of Panama, between, yes, North America and South America. It is a narrow landmass which connects North and South America. So we have the Panama City country there. Okay. Then we have what? Yes, the next one is the Isthmus of Kra. It's very important, especially when you're talking about what? Strategic locations. It is near Malacca Strait, and also it is in Thailand. It is between which two oceans? I mean, which two seas? The Andaman Sea and Gulf of Thailand. Okay. Then we have the third one, that is the Isthmus of Suez. So Isthmus of Suez is we wouldn't have heard of it much. Okay, but it is actually a narrow piece of land which connects the Sinai Peninsula of Egypt to the mainland Egypt. Okay, and on top we have the Mediterranean Sea, and on bottom we have yes, the bottom we have the Red Sea. Okay, and actually below it we have actually the Gulf of Suez. Okay, and which in turn is part of the Red Sea. Okay, so these are the three important isthmus. Okay, so what is canals? Next we'll talk about canals. Okay, so what exactly is canals? So we would have heard about a lot of irrigation canals, so many canals, right? But the canals we are talking about here is, okay, whenever there is such small landmass, that is such as isthmus, right? Small landmass which separates two major two major water bodies and is between two big land masses. What do we do? In order to connect the two water bodies, okay, there is a narrow strip of land dividing two water bodies. So in order to connect these, we build canals between them, right? We build canals between them, right? So two land masses and two water bodies. The two water bodies divided by the small strip of land. So when this small strip of land is divided, what do? Yes, we actually connect the water bodies using canals. Okay, so yes, so all the three isthmus. Okay, the first two ones, of the three, two already have canal, and the third one is proposed canal. Okay, so if you're talking about the canals, I'm telling about Panama Canal and Suez Canal. Okay, so you can see the Panama Canal here. Okay, so yes, this one is the Panama Canal. So yes, we have the Panama Isthmus, and to connect the Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean, we have the Panama Canal. Why is it important? Yes, if there wasn't any canal, like at the times when there was no canal, the western part of North America, if somebody had to go all the way to Europe, they had to go all around the south of South America to the bottom of South America and then go to Europe or the eastern countries, right? So this had cost them a lot of time, a lot of casualties, a lot of shipwrecks, etc. So they created the Panama Canal to reduce the time. Okay, so the time drastically reduced, and also like if you're talking about the rough seas below the South America, that created a lot of casualties. Okay, a lot of shipwrecks. Okay, that actually reduced with the introduction of what, the Panama Canal. So basically, Panama Canals connect what, the Pacific Ocean and Atlantic Ocean. It's very important in terms of trade. So what about the Suez Canal? Yes, Suez Canal is a narrow strip of canal between who? Yes, the Sinai Peninsula and Egypt. Okay, it actually connects Mediterranean Sea and Gulf of Suez, or what, the Indian Ocean. Okay, this one is also very important. Even if you take historically also, it's very, very important, because in the initial years when the European powers came to India, they had to go all around Africa to the Cape of Good Hope, that is the tip of Africa, and come around Africa and then reach where? Countries such as India and China. But then after that, they created the Suez Canal, so they could reduce the time drastically and go through where? The Suez Canal. They could actually bypass this route. Okay. So even today, this is one of the most important trade routes. Okay. And I think 2 years back, there was a blockage in Suez Canal for around 6 days. Okay. There was, I think, the Evergreen, there was a ship, something, Evergreen, something like that. It actually blocked this Suez Canal. And because of that, the whole world's trade was disrupted. Okay. Okay, so this Suez Canal is significantly important, and remember, it connects who? The Mediterranean Sea and the Red Sea, and in turn to the Indian Ocean. Okay, clear? Yes. Now there's the last one. Okay, next important one is the one across Isthmus. Okay, so it's actually just in the proposal stage right now. It is not built, but if this is built, what happens? Yes, we spoke about the choking point, the Strait of Malacca. The huge traffic in the Strait of Malacca would be reduced. Okay, and the ships could go through what? Yes, this Kra Canal. Okay, this Kra Canal could what? Connect the South China Sea and Indian Ocean. Okay, or what? The Andaman Sea, and reduce. Okay, it is not the time required to the go around this Malacca Strait, that is reduced. It also aids in what? Yes, reducing the difficulty. Okay, so they are creating parallel strips of canal so that multiple ships can go. Okay, but now the problem here is the country of Thailand is actually protesting against this Kra Canal. Okay, so they are telling that their land would be impacted. They'll have a lot huge loss and things like that. So this is just in a proposal stage now, but China is what was actually heavily pushing this project. Okay, yeah. So that is the Kra Canal. So remember the location of Kra Isthmus and Kra Canal. Okay, high chance that they'll ask for prelims. Okay, here. Okay. So yes, with that we come to an end of what? Yes, the straits, isthmus, and canal. So you should remember these for sure. Okay. It's not necessary. I mean, it is not. As I always say, it is actually impossible to remember all the straits or strategic locations, etc. But at least this you must remember. It will help you both in what prelims as well as for mains. Okay, clear? So whenever there's a question regarding straits and an isthmus, you can use this. Whenever there's any question regarding trade or the strategic locations for international trade, you can use this. Okay, whenever there is some question regarding the supply chain disruption. So a blockade in Suez Canal, that will cause what? Supply chain disruption. So you can This is would be one reason, and you can also draw this map. Okay, so this would be really useful both for prelims as well as mains point of view. Okay. Okay. So yes, now we'll move on to the next important topic, that is the international lakes. Okay, just 1 minute. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, next is international lakes. So if you're talking about international lakes, like there is, if you take India's case, there's lots and lots of lakes, right? It is actually impossible to study the every lake, right? Same way, international lakes also, there are so many means so many. So what I've done is I've just picked a few, the most important ones, and I will be discussing it today. Clear? Okay. So before going to international lakes, we'll just have a brief idea of what lakes are. Okay, how it is classified, etc. So first is, what are lakes? All of us would be familiar of lakes, right? A large area of water surrounded by land. So there is a land mass, and between that be water body. That is lake. Okay, a large area of water surrounded by lakes. Okay, now how are they classified? Yes, based on the salinity or the salt content of the lakes. It is classified into two categories: brackish water lake or saline lake, and the freshwater lake. That means there's no salt content. Okay, so broadly two categories: the brackish water lake or the saline lake, and the fresh lake, based on salinity. Another classification is based on how they are formed by earth movements. What does that mean? Yes, we would have studied the plate tectonic theory and all, right? So there are two types of lake, that is the tectonic lakes and the Rift Valley lakes. Okay, so what are these tectonic lakes? Okay, sometimes what happens is the Earth's surface warps, that is the continental surface. Okay, it actually bends like this. So when warping happens, the water gets stored there. Okay, and lakes form. So such lakes are called tectonic lakes. Okay, another type of lakes is the Rift Valley lakes. So what are these Rift Valleys? Yes, if you're talking about plate tectonics theory itself, we always speak about what the continent drifting apart. There'll be movements, right? So there'll be convergence, there'll be divergence. So when there is divergence between two plates, what happens? There is something called the Horst graben topography. So when two continent masses separates, one part of it sinks. It sinks below it. So that landmass which sinks fills in water. So the sunken part is called the Rift Valley. So there is two continents get separated. There is a gap between them. So that is Rift Valley. Okay. So when there's faulting between continents or faulting between land masses. Okay, this comes apart and there is rift between them. So when water gets filled in that, there is Rift Valley lakes. Clear? Yes. Next one is the ones formed by volcanic activities. Two types, that is crater lake and caldera lakes. Okay. So what they mean by volcanic activity is, you have the mountains here like this. What happens when volcano comes? This top part is burst off. It just burst off, right? So what happens? There'll be some like a hole like this. Okay, because this top gets thrown out, there'll be some hole like this. And when there is rain, water gets collected. That is after the volcanic activity stops. Okay, so there'll be crater and caldera lakes there. Okay, this part is called, that thing is called the crater, and when it enlarges, it's called the caldera lakes. Okay. Yes, so these are the types of lakes. Now we'll see the international lake, the important ones. Okay. So yes, the famous one is Caspian Sea and Dead Sea and the Aral Sea. So it's called sea, but still they are lakes. Why? Yes, it is landlocked. That means it is within the land body. Okay, although it is called seas, they are actually lakes. Okay. Then we have the famous Lake Baikal. Then world's highest lakes, we'll see the largest lakes by each continent, like each lake, one lake within each continent. We'll see the biggest ones there. Then we also see the Great Lakes of North America. This is famous ones. Okay, then the African Great Lakes. Okay, and a few more lakes in Africa. We'll be seeing all this. Okay, so we have Caspian Sea, Dead Sea, Aral Sea, Lake Baikal, world's highest lakes, largest by continent, and Great Lakes of North America and African Great Lakes. So this is how we'll be studying the lakes. Okay. Okay. So first we'll start with this Caspian Sea and Dead Sea. Okay. So yes, we already saw Caspian Sea and Dead Sea in the last class. Okay. So we're not going to much details of it, but we'll just see about it, a bit of it, and the lake perspective. Okay. So yes, the Caspian Sea and Dead Sea are usually called lakes. And significant thing is, yes, if you're talking Dead Sea, it is actually 423 meters below sea level. Okay, that is the surface and shores. That is if you're taking the level, it is actually 423 meters below the sea level. That means it is actually the lowest elevation on the land. If you're taking like land and ocean, so it is actually below the ocean, sea level. So there's a sea level here, Dead Sea is here. Okay, so it is actually one of the lowest points on the land. Okay, that is Dead Sea as an important point regarding Dead Sea as a lake. Another thing is Caspian Lake. Okay, it is considered, it is actually between who? Yes, here you have Europe, here you have Asia. So Caspian Lake is actually like this between these two continents. Okay, so it is the largest lake in Eurasia. Okay, it is one of the largest lake in Eurasia, the Caspian Sea. So I've just added the earlier sites with regard to Caspian Sea. Whenever we speak about Caspian Sea, you must remember what the keyword? Tariq, right? So we have Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, Russia, Iran, and Kazakhstan as the borders. You can see it around here. So we discussed it in the last class. Then if you're talking about Dead Sea, who is between them? Yes, Dead Sea is here, right? One side we have who? Jordan, and another side we have who? Yes, Israel and Palestine. So West Bank of Palestine is mainly because it is on the west side of the Dead Sea. Yeah, only so much you must remember. Okay, so remember it's between Jordan, Israel, and Palestine. Okay, Dead Sea. Next important one is, yes, the Lake Baikal. So till now, all the few things which we have learned, we already saw it in the last sessions, the lakes, right? Now we'll see the most important one, that is the Lake Baikal. This is also one of the favorite lakes of UPSC because it does ask about Lake Baikal. Okay. So yes, Lake Baikal is in Russia. You can see it here. Okay. There are a few rivers starting from Lake Baikal. It's not that important. Remember, it is in Russia and Siberian part of Russia. Not just Russia, the Siberian part. That is on what? The eastern side of Russia. Okay. So this is actually a rift lake located in the southern Siberia, Russia. Okay. So what is rift lake? We already spoke. So when there is what? Rifting between continents. Okay. When there is fault. Okay. There is what? A rift formed between two land masses and water gets collected, and that is how what? The rift lakes are formed. Okay. So this is a rift lake. Okay. Lake Baikal. And one more important is the largest freshwater lake by volume. Okay. See, if it's easy to remember, Lake Baikal is the largest freshwater lake. Why? Yes, the whole of Siberia is what? Is ice. Right. It's very cold. It's frozen. There's permafrost. It's very frozen. So this would obviously be what? Fresh water. So when ice melt, what will come? Fresh water would come, right? So this Baikal is freshwater lake. Okay, it's easy, no? Yes. Remember, it is in Russia, Siberian region. That means it will be freshwater. Okay. And also, interesting fact, 22 to 23% of the world's freshwater is in this Lake Baikal. Okay. So, around 22-23% of the world, right? And the shape, it has a long crescent shape. Okay. Okay. So, suppose we have Lake Baikal there and water is melting. I mean, ice is there, snow is there all around it. Okay, frosted. So will the area of the lake shrink or expand? That's my question. Okay, so now is the era of what? Yes, global warming, what climate change, etc. So what happens during global warming is the water is melting, right? That means what will happen to the Lake Baikal? There'll be increase in water, right? The ice around this region, if it melts, there'll be increase in water. Okay, so it cannot shrink. Remember that point, okay? Okay. Apart from that, there's other interesting fact with regard to Lake Baikal. It is the seventh largest lake in the world by surface area, and it is also one of the world's oldest and deepest lake. Okay, it's one of the oldest and deepest lake, and that is why it was given what UNESCO's World Heritage Site. So remember, Lake Baikal is UNESCO's World Heritage Site declaration. Okay, so that is Lake Baikal. Okay, this is in Russia, Siberian region. Okay, next we'll see the highest lakes. Okay, which are the few highest lakes? Yes, 3 lakes I'll be talking about here. One is Ojos del Salado. Then we have the Pumyongso Lake. Then we have the Lake Titicaca. Okay, these 3 lakes we'll be talking about when you're talking about the world's highest lake. So Ojos del Salado, Pumyongso, and Lake Titicaca. Okay, so first we'll see what the Ojos del Salado. Where is it? Yes, you can see it here. Right, it's in Chile. Okay, it's here. Ojos del Salado. Okay. Yes, it is the world's highest lake. Okay. Yes, it's around 6390 meters. But the problem is its size is very small. So if size is not taken into consideration, this is the world's highest lake. Okay. And it is also a crater lake. So what was a crater lake? Yes, due to volcanic activities, craters are formed on top, right? So when water comes there, this becomes crater lake. So Ojos del Salado is a crater lake. Okay. It is in the Andes ranges. So we have the great Andes mountains here, Andes ranges here in South America. So this is also part of what? This Andes region. That is why it is the highest point. Okay, and it is in Chile. Okay. So you can connect with the name Ojos del Salado. Okay, Chile. The way they speak, Ojos del Salado, Chile. Okay. So that is what the highest lake. Okay, but if you're talking about like the lakes in Himalayan region, it's Pumyong. Okay, this is the highest lake in the world. It's actually in the it is in the Tibetan autonomous region of China. Okay, it's in what the highest next to maybe Himalayas or something. We have what Pumyong So. So the term so in the language means what? Lake. Okay, so all the lakes in this region, Himalayan region, like for example, we have what Pangong So, right? In what the Ladakh region. Okay, So Moriri, all is So. So means lake. Okay, so Pumyong So is in Tibetan region. It is one of the highest lakes. Okay. The next is Lake Titicaca. Lake Titicaca is also very important. Okay, especially if you are geography optional or something, you must know this lake. Okay, so remember the location. It's between Peru and Bolivia. Okay, and yes, one most interesting fact about Lake Titicaca is it is the highest commercially navigable lake. Okay, so you have what navigation possible in this lake. So highest is not just the highest, but it's also commercially navigable lake. Okay, and it is between Peru and Bolivia. Okay, remember the location. Okay, and it is also part of the Andes. Okay, it is also the largest lake in South America, and also it is also part of Andes. Okay, so yes, these 3 lakes are the highest lakes. Okay, here. So we spoke about Lake Titicaca, Pumyongso in Tibetan autonomous region, and Ojos del Salado, where in Chile. Okay. Okay. So next we'll be seeing what the largest lake by continent. Okay. The largest lake in each continent. Okay. So we start with Australia. Australia, there is Lake Eyre. Remember, it is a salt lake. Okay, there's saline lake. The water there is brackish. Okay. So Australia, the largest lake is Lake Eyre. Okay. In Africa, it is Lake Victoria. So you might think Lake Victoria, when you hear the name, suddenly it will be somewhere in UK or something. But yes, remember Lake Victoria is in Africa. Okay. It is also third largest freshwater lake on Earth. Okay. And it is one of the, it is part of a group of like what? The Great Lakes of Africa. Okay, there's something called the Great Lakes of Africa, which we'll be seeing today. Remember, Lake Victoria is part of this Great Lakes. Okay. It is the third largest freshwater lake. Okay. Now in Antarctica, there is Lake Vostok. It is a subglacial lake. That means it's semi-solid kind, subglacial lake. It's part of glacial ocean. Okay. So Antarctica, there is Lake Vostok. If you're talking about Asia, it is Lake Baikal. Okay. Largest lake in Asia is Baikal. It is in what? Siberian region of Russia. Okay. Next one is Lake Ladoga. Okay, Lake Ladoga is in Europe. If you're talking about Europe, the largest lake is Lake Ladoga, followed by Lake Onega. And remember, we might think if you're talking about Europe, it will be in some European countries, but it is in what? Russia. That is northwest part of Russia. Okay. Lake Ladoga and Lake Onega is in what? Northwest part of, that is the European part of Russia. Russia is a big country. It is spread toward both European and Asian continents. Okay. And if you're talking about North America, it is Lake Superior, and South America, it is Lake Titicaca. Okay. So Australia, it is Lake Eyre. Australia, Lake Eyre. It is a brackish water lake. Africa, Lake Victoria. Antarctica, Lake Vostok. Antarctica, Vostok. Asia, it is Baikal. Okay. Europe, it is what? Ladoga and followed by Onega. It is both part of Russia. Okay. North America, Lake Superior. South America, Lake Titicaca. Okay. Okay. Try to remember these names. At least a few you must remember. Okay. If you see this multiple times, you will keep on remembering it. Okay. You can retain it. Okay. Okay. So you can just see the locations of this. So North America, we have Lake Superior. It's somewhat here. Okay. It's between what? It is actually between US and Canada. It's somewhere here. It's part of the Great Lakes of the North America. Then Lake Titicaca, it's here, right? We told it's between Peru and Bolivia. Yes. Then we have the Lake Victoria here, somewhere, not south, it could be say towards the what? Eastern part of what? Africa. Then we have the Lake Ladoga. You can see this whole thing is Russia, and this part is where Europe. Okay. So that means Lake Ladoga is in what? European part of Russia. Okay, then we have the Lake of Baikal, which is what? A part of Asia. And in Australia, we have what? The Eyre Lake. Okay, it is towards the south of Australia. Clear? Okay. Now, one important lakes we must see is the Great Lakes of North America. Okay, so Great Lakes of North America. Why is it important? Yes. So we have this like what? Group of 5 lakes. Okay. Which are called the Great Lakes of America. So we have Lake Superior, Lake Michigan, Lake Huron, Lake Erie, and Lake Ontario. Okay. These are the 5 important lakes of North America, which is called the Great Lakes. Okay. And remember, it is not just in USA. It is between what? Canada and USA. Okay, the Great Lakes. Okay, and yes, most of the water supply and most of the navigation, etc., happens through this lake. Okay. Yes. So yes, if we're talking about the Great Lakes of North America, it is a series of interconnected Remember, it is a freshwater lake. Okay, so they have water supply from all the ice melts and snow melts of Canada. And yes, it is a freshwater lakes. Okay. And it is also connected to Atlantic Ocean through St. Lawrence Seaway. Okay, they've actually connected it to the Atlantic Ocean. And yes, it consists of what? We have Lake Superior, which is the largest lake of North America, Michigan, Huron, Erie, and Ontario. Remember, all these are freshwater lakes. Okay. Then, yes, it is the largest continental lake in the world by area. So yes, Lake Superior. This is the largest lake. Okay, taking the whole world. Okay, and yes, Lake Michigan is the largest lake if it is considered within entire country. Like for example, if you're taking Superior, it is between what Canada and the US, but Michigan is in US alone. Okay. Yes. So that is the Great Lakes. Another interesting fact I can tell you is, yes, you can see Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. Okay. That is a river which connects between, and there's one river here also, which connects Lake Huron and Lake Erie. But Lake Erie to Lake Ontario is connected with what? Niagara River. And the famous Niagara Falls is on this one. Okay, so if anybody wants to visit this, okay, if there's a question or something regarding Niagara Falls, remember, it is between Lake Ontario and Lake Erie. Okay. Okay, it's between Canada and the US. Clear? Okay. So yes, that is the Great Lakes of North America. Yes. Next we'll see what the African Great Lakes. Okay, this is also very important. Okay. So yes, so you can see, yes, this is the African Great Lakes. It is towards what? We earlier saw the American lakes, right? The Great American Lakes. So similarly, there is also Great Lakes in Africa. Okay, it's majorly found in the Rift Valleys. Okay, there's a Great African Rift Valley, and in this Rift Valley, we have what? Yes, the African Great Lakes. Okay, so you can see the lakes here. So this is actually the Rift Valley. We'll see about it about the Rift Valley later. But now we'll just focus on the lakes here. Okay, so we have Lake Turkana here, Lake Albert here, Lake Edward, Lake Kivu, Lake Tanganyika, and Lake Victoria. Okay, I know it's very hard to remember these names, but try to just like you may not remember the names as such, but whenever you hear this name, you must just know that it is in Africa, somewhere in Africa. Okay, and that too on which side? The southeast side. Okay, that side of Africa. Okay, that is the only thing you must remember. Okay, but in this you must remember few lakes which are really important. One is the Lake Victoria. That is very important. It is the second largest freshwater lake. So when you hear the name like Lake Victoria, you might think it's somewhere in England or Europe, etc. But remember, Lake Victoria is where in Africa. Okay, and it is in the Great Rift Valley of Africa. Then another lake you must remember is the Lake Tanganyika. Okay, it is the second, world's second largest in volume as well as second deepest lake. Okay, that is Lake Tanganyika. Okay. Then we also have the Lake Malawi or Nisa or Nyasa. Okay, so you must remember that one as well. Okay, so yes, these are the African Great Lakes. So when you study about the lakes in Africa, these are the few ones you must remember. Okay, so what exactly was the Rift Valley which we spoke about in the last class? Or like we were discussing about the Rift Valley, right? Yes, when the two continents separate, when we speak about the plate tectonics theory, we know the continental plates diverge from each other. And when such faults occur between continents, what happens? There'll be a gap between the two continental plates, and that gap is filled as with water as rift valleys. Okay, so similarly, there's a rift valley here. We'll see about it later, okay, in detail. Okay. Then apart from this African Great Lakes, there are few more lakes we must remember when we study about Africa, the lakes in Africa. Okay, one is Lake Victoria. We'll see about that in detail, which is also part of the Great Lakes. So you can see Lake Victoria here. Okay, so yes, which countries are bordering Lake Victoria? We have Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. Okay, KTU. Remember KTU. Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. Okay. Or you can also remember as KUT also. Whatever code you find, it's similar. Easier. Okay. So remember, it is Africa's largest lake. Okay. Lake Victoria is Africa's largest lake, and it is the largest tropical lake in the world. Okay, and also the second largest freshwater lake after Lake Superior. So Lake Superior was part of the Great Lakes of North America. And after that, after Lake Superior, this is the second largest freshwater lake. Remember, it is not saltwater, it is freshwater lake. Okay. Then, yes, after that, also, which are the bordering countries? We already spoke, KUT or KTU, Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. Okay. And one more interesting factor is we have the equator passing through this Lake Victoria. Okay, so if there's some kind of question like that, remember Lake Victoria, equator is passing. So you can also see it is also passing through Uganda and Kenya. Okay, so it is Africa's largest lake by area. It is the largest tropical lake and world's second largest freshwater lake after Lake Superior of North America. And the bordering countries are Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. Okay. And remember, it is also part of the Great Lakes of Africa. Okay. Next one is Lake Malawi. This is also very important because this also frequently comes in news, Malawi. Okay. So, this is also known as Lake Niger in Tanzania and Lago Nyasa in Mozambique. Okay, so you can see the bordering states. Yes, Zambia is there, Mozambique is there, and Tanzania is there. Okay, so Lake Malawi. And it is the southernmost, the bottom point of what? The Rift Valley. Okay, that is southernmost tip of what? The East African Rift System. Okay, and it is located between Malawi, Mozambique, and Tanzania. Okay, so actually this Zambia is not a direct border of the Great Rift Valley. We have Malawi on one side, Tanzania, and Mozambique. Okay, MMT. Okay, Malawi, Mozambique, and Tanzania. Okay, yes. Next is Lake Fagubin. Okay, this is an interesting lake. So all the lakes which we learned now was where? In the southeastern side of Africa, right? This one is in Mali, Lake Fagubin. But you cannot actually see this lake. Okay, why? It actually disappeared. Okay, so there was a catastrophic drought in 1970s in Mali in Africa. Okay, so this lake was actually in the northern part of Mali, and this lake actually disappeared due to the drought condition. Lake Fagubin. Okay, so remember, Lake Fagubin got fatigued and it dried out. Okay, Fagubin fatigued and dried out. Okay, then this is also one of the largest lake in West Africa, and it used to be fed by who? The Niger River. Okay, remember Niger River is on this side. So yeah, on the Nigeria side. Niger River will be on the Nigeria side. So that is on the West African side. Okay, so yes, this lake was actually fed by who? This Niger River. Lake Fagubin. Remember, Lake Fagubin got fatigued and died. Okay. Yes, so you can see the location of Mali. Mali is a landlocked country. Okay, so it's on the West African side. You can see the shape of Mali also here. Okay. Next is the Oguta Lake. This is also on the west side, but here at the bottom. Okay. So it is a lean, the lake shape is very thin, lean like a finger. So it's called a finger lake. Okay. And it is formed by what? The damming of Njaba River. Okay. With alluvium. So when sand deposits of the Njaba River dams the river, this lake is formed, Oguta Lake. That is why it has a lean shape. Okay. And it is the largest lake in the Imo state in southeastern Nigeria. This is one of the largest lake in Nigeria, not Africa. Okay, remember it's in Nigeria. And yes, it is within the delta of Nigeria. So we have the Niger River flowing like this up to here, Nigeria. It is the delta of Nigeria is here. It opens to what? Gulf of Guinea. So we have the Gulf of Guinea here. Okay, so that is where what we have the delta Oguta Lake. Okay, it is in Nigeria. Okay. Next one is the Lake Volta. Okay. So you can see Lake Volta here. It's in Ghana. Okay. So above we have Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, Benin, and all is here around Ghana. But this Lake Volta is in Ghana. Okay. So Lake Volta is the largest artificial reservoir in the world. Okay, it is the largest artificial reservoir based on surface area. It is in Ghana. Okay. And yes, it is behind Akosombo Dam, which generates electricity for Ghana. Akosombo Dam. So remember, Lake Volta is in Ghana. Okay. So I know it's very hard to remember all these lakes, but I am discussing these lakes just because UPSC once asked a question based on these lakes. Okay. See, it's not because it is very important or like what it has what been frequently in news, nothing like that. But UPSC has asked question with regard to these lakes. So I just want you guys to know about this, about at least the location where it is, or some facts about these lakes. Okay, so that is Lake Volta. So we have Lake Volta in Ghana. Okay, next is Lake Natron. So you can see Lake Natron here. It's here. It's on top. Okay, on top 10, Tanzania. So Tanzania at the top of Tanzania. Okay, so yes, it actually shares border between Tanzania and Kenya. So on top there is Kenya, and bottom is Tanzania, but mainly in Tanzania itself. Okay, and yes, it is in the middle of a volcanic moonscape in the Rift Valley. Okay, so there is a volcanic moonscape, and here somewhere around here, and next to that we have what this Lake Natron. Okay, and I told you there is a volcanic moonscape. Okay, the volcanic eruptions happen in and around this Lake Natron, and that is the reason why there is a unique hostile condition. Okay, so Lake Natron is important because tourism is flourishing to this area now. Okay, there is lots of attractions happening, and like Tanzania is attracting a lot of tourists to Lake Natron. Okay, and yes, animals does not survive here much because it has a very hostile conditions. Okay, and this lake has lots of salt, soda, and magnetite deposits, which contribute to this alkaline condition. So it's very salty and very alkaline water. Okay, so it's very difficult for somebody to survive around this lake. And why is this lake having this condition? It's because of the volcano. So there's an volcano called Ol Doinyo Lengai. Because of the Ol Doinyo Lengai, this Natron lake has what very hostile condition. Okay, so I know it's very hard to remember this Ol Doinyo Lengai. Okay, even it's difficult for me to say as well. So just remember Lake Natron, and there is some volcano around Natron which has what, which is contributing to the hostile condition. So it's making the water in Lake Natron very salty and with all the alkaline deposits in it. Okay. And there's one more interesting fact. There's something called natrocarbonites. Okay. Natrocarbonites. Okay. So what is this natrocarbonite? This kind of natrocarbonite is found only where in this Ol Doinyo Lengai volcano. Found only there in the whole world. Okay. So that is one interesting fact about Lake Natron. Clear? Okay, so just remember Lake Natron, where is it? It's between Kenya and Tanzania, mainly in Tanzania itself. Okay. And yes, there is a volcano nearby it. And because of that, lake has very hostile condition. Okay. So that is Lake Natron. Okay. So yes, these were the important lakes across the world which you have to learn, or you must know. At least these you must know. Okay. It's actually, I told you it's very difficult to study all the lakes, but at least these few which I've mentioned you must learn. Okay. So yes, I'll just give you a brief about. We'll just have a quick revision regarding the lakes so far. Okay. So first we spoke about what lakes are, and yes, what the different types of lake. It's classified based on salinity. So two types: that is saline lake and brackish water lake and freshwater lakes. Then we have it's also classified based on the earth movement as tectonic lakes as well as Rift Valley lakes. Okay, then also based on volcanic activity, you have caldera and crater. Okay. Yes. Then we also saw all the international lakes. So we just listed out a few, and we saw each of them in detail. So first we spoke over the Caspian Sea and Dead Sea. Although its name's sea, since it's enclosed water body, that is there is land all around it, they are also called lakes. Okay, they consider as lakes. Okay, the surface and yes, an interesting fact about Dead Sea is it is below sea level, 423 meters below sea level. Okay, and what if Caspian Lake is considered in the whole of between Eurasia? So in the whole of Eurasia, it is the largest lake. Okay, spanning across 2 continents. Okay, yes, we also know saw this even in the last class. Also, we saw what the bordering states of Caspian Sea, which are they? Yes, Tariq. That is the keyword. Okay. So it's Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, we have Russia, Iran, and Kazakhstan. So Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, Russia, Iran, and Kazakhstan. Tariq. Okay. Yes, then Dead Sea. What was the keyword? RRB gut. Oh, sorry. That was sorry. Dead Sea. Yes, I got confused now. Okay, I'm sorry. So it is a Dead Sea. Where is Dead Sea located? It's between Jordan on one side and Israel on the other side. Israel and Palestine on the other side. Okay, West Bank of Palestine. So West Bank of Palestine is called West Bank just because it's on the west side of the Dead Sea. Okay. So yes, that is the Dead Sea. Okay. Yes, we saw this in detail when we spoke about the Dead Sea as a sea earlier. Okay. Then yes, the next one is Lake Baikal. Lake Baikal is in Russia. We spoke about Lake Baikal. It is one of the largest freshwater lakes. Okay. It is also a rift lake. Okay. It is Siberian part of Russia, southern Siberia. Okay. It is the largest freshwater lake by volume in the world and contains about 20 to 23% of the world's fresh water. Okay, and remember it has a long crescent shape. Okay, it's a very long crescent shape. Okay, yes. If you're taking by area, it is the 7th largest lake. Okay, it is very old, it is very deep, and yes, it is also got UNESCO World Heritage Site. Okay, next we spoke about the highest lakes. I mean, the highest lake in the world, which is Ojos del Salado and Pomyangso and Lake Titicaca. The first and third one is in South America, and Pomyangso is in around Himalayas. Okay, then we spoke about Ojos del Salado. It is the highest lake if you're not considering the size, and it is in Chile. Okay, that is in the Andes ranges of South America and Chile. Okay, then we spoke about Pomyangso. It is the highest lake. It is in the Tibetan area, autonomous region of Tibet in China. Okay. Then we also spoke about Lake Titicaca. Yes, where is Lake Titicaca? Yes, it's between Peru and Bolivia. Okay. Lake Titicaca, it is also in the Andes ranges of South America between Peru and Bolivia. And one interesting fact of this Lake Titicaca is it is the highest commercially navigable lake. Okay. Between Peru and Bolivia border. Okay. It is also largest lake in the South America. Okay. So don't forget this name, Lake Titicaca. Okay. Then we also looked into what the largest lakes by continent. Okay, each continent, the largest lake in each of these continents. So Australia, we have Lake Eyre. It's also Salt Lake or Saline Lake. Then Africa, Lake Victoria. We also saw Lake Victoria. Then Antarctica, there is Lake Vostok. Okay. In Asia, Lake Baikal is there. Europe, Lake Ladoga and Lake Onega. Remember, both of these are part of Russia. So that is European part of Russia. Okay, Lake Baikal is also in Russia in the Siberian region, southern Siberian region. Then North America, there is Lake Superior, and South America, there is Lake Titicaca. Okay. Yes. So we also saw the location. So it's here, Lake Superior, Lake Titicaca, Lake Victoria, Lake Baikal, Lake Ladoga is here, Lake Eyre. Okay, and yes, Lake Vostok in Antarctica. Okay. Yes. Then we spoke about what the Great Lakes of North America. Yes, just you must remember these names. Okay, it is Lake Superior, Lake Michigan, Lake Huron, Lake Erie, and Lake Ontario. Okay, remember it's between the United States and Canada. Okay, so yes, that's also important. Yes, it's a series of interconnected freshwater lake. Yes, we also looked into the names. And yes, Lake Superior is the largest continental lake in the world by area. Okay. Okay. So in within one country, it is Lake Michigan. Okay. Then yes, we spoke about the African Great Lakes. So we have what? Lake Turkana, Lake Victoria, Lake Albert, Lake Edward, Lake Kivu, and Lake Tanganyika. Okay. Remember, all these are part of East African Rift Valley. Okay. And yes, Lake Victoria is the second largest freshwater lake in the world by area. And Lake Tanganyika is second largest in volume and deepest, second deepest one. Okay. Then yes, Lake Victoria, we looked at in detail. KTU or KUT put Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda. It's a bordering countries around Lake Victoria. It is the largest lake by area. Okay, in Africa. Okay, it's world's largest tropical lake. Also remember, equator passes through the Lake Victoria. The world's second largest freshwater lake. Yes, after Lake Superior and the bordering countries. Okay, then we spoke about Lake Malawi. Yes, Lake Malawi. Yes, it is the southernmost point of East African Rift Valley. It's also called Lake Nyasa in Tanzania and Lake Lago Nyaso in Mozambique. And yes, it is between MMT, Malawi, Mozambique, and Tanzania. Okay, Malawi, Mozambique, and Tanzania. Okay, clear? Lake Malawi. Okay, then also some other, a few more lakes. Lake Fagubin is there. Lake Fagubin got fatigued and died out. Okay, it is in Mali. Okay, there was a catastrophic drought in 1970s and this lake died out. It was actually fed by who? The Niger River. This Mali is in West Africa. Okay, you can see the location of Mali here. Then the Oguta Lake. Oguta Lake, where is it? Okay, this is also like a finger lake and it is caused by what? Damming of the alluvial deposits from the river. Alluvial deposits mean the sand deposits from the river. Okay, so yes, due to damming of these damming of this river, this lake is formed. It's a natural lake. Okay, which is the inmost state of Nigeria. Okay, and also remember, this is on the Niger Delta. Oguta Lake is also on the Niger Delta. Then we spoke about Lake Volta. It is in Ghana. Okay, it is the largest artificial reservoir in the world based on surface area. Okay, yes. Also remember, it is on the Akosombo Dam. It is an artificial lake. Because of this creation of this Akosombo Dam, this lake was created, Lake Volta. Okay, clear? So you must remember at least these lakes when you are going for prelims. Okay. Okay. Yes. One more thing, Lake Natron. I forgot that. Okay. Lake Natron. Where is it? It's between Tanzania and Kenya. Okay. It's actually in Tanzania itself, but along the border, there's a volcano next to it. And because of that, there's hostile condition around it. So all the salt, soda, and magnetic deposits are there within that because of this volcano, that is El Doño Lengai volcano. Okay, an interesting fact about this is that there is something called natrocarbonites. It's easy to remember. Lake Natron, natrocarbonites. Easy, right? So Lake Natron, next to Lake Natron, there is natrocarbonites of volcano. Okay, and remember it's only found here. Okay, clear? Okay, let's move on. We'll see some question which was asked by UPSC in the previous year. So this is one interesting question. Which one of the lakes of West Africa has become dry and turned into a desert? So we have Lake Victoria, Lake Fagubin, Lake Oguta, Lake Volta. So this was a very difficult question in that year because most of the people would not know in any of these lakes except for Lake Victoria. Many might know Lake Victoria. So remembering its size, we know it did not dry out. So we'll be able to eliminate the first option, A. Right. It is one of the largest freshwater lakes and it is found in Africa. We know that. So if we know that fact, we can eliminate A. But the rest, that year nobody knew. I mean, very few people would have known that answer. Okay, so since we have already seen these Lake Gibbon, Lake Wogutta, and Lake Volta, sorry. So we know that Lake Gibbon dried out, right? Got fatigue that died out. So that means which one of the lakes of West Africa has become dry and turned into desert? That is Lake Gibbon. B is the answer. Okay. And even if you have doubt regarding Lake Victoria, remember it is a West Africa. The question is asked for West Africa. So you know Lake Victoria is in where? Southeast Africa. Okay, so that option you can always eliminate. Okay. So answer is Lake Gibbon. Okay. So in UPSC, when you have like such questions, it's not always a good thing to take a wild guess unless and until you can eliminate any of these options. Okay. You can go for a guess if you can eliminate at least 2 options. Okay. Otherwise, it's not advisable to take a guess. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now we'll see one more question regarding lakes. Which of the following have shrunk immensely, dried up in the recent past due to human activities? We have Aral Sea, Black Sea, Lake Baikal. Select the correct answer using the code given below. Say 1 only, 2 and 3, 2 only, 1 and 3. So yes, we spoke about Lake Baikal. It is a freshwater lake. So there is no chance of what? Drying out, right? And even in the era of what climate change and global warming, there's no scope for Lake Baikal to dry out, right? Because of ice melt, it will only increase in size. Okay. Then we have Black Sea. Black Sea is actually not considered as a lake itself. Okay, we know it is connected to Sea of Marmara and where to Mediterranean Sea. So it cannot be considered as a lake itself. So you can eliminate that option also. So 1 and 3, 3 could be eliminated and 2. So if 2 goes, there's only one option A. And 3 goes, there's only one option A. Okay. And yes, the question is has shrunk immensely, dried up in the recent past. Okay. Okay, there's no option to consider lake. Okay. Sorry. That's a mistake on my part. Okay, yes, so Aral Sea has actually shrunk up. Black Sea hasn't shrunk up. Okay, so answer is anyways A. Okay. So yes, that is it about lakes. So you must remember at least these lakes. Clear? Next, and the most important topic is the regions in news. So UPSC has a very high tendency to ask regions in news, especially if it is from areas such as West Asia or in and around West Asian region. Okay, the Middle Eastern region, etc. So UPSC, that is UPSC's favorite area, and whenever there is a conflict or whenever there is whenever there is some kind of war or some kind of issues going on, like for example, last year they asked Afghanistan because Taliban took over Afghanistan completely, right? The year before that, there was a question on Syria because there was crisis in Syria. Like there is continuous crisis in Syria, but that year more focus was given to Syria. Okay, so yes, so based on that, we can actually learn it. Okay, so I just identified few regions. Most of the regions, I think, of West Asia we have covered when we spoke about the region. Bordering countries and the lakes and oceans. Okay, but we just have a quick revision of few of them and also some additions to them. Okay. So yes, that is next we'll see regions. So I've categorized into different regions like Asians, African, etc. So first we see Asian regions. So we have Afghanistan, Black Sea, Kerch Strait, Jerusalem, Israel, Borneo in Indonesia, Cambodia, and Semeru volcano. Okay, so yes, this part we can say it is in West Asia, except for Black Sea and Kerch Strait. It's because of Russia-Ukraine war. And yes, Borneo, Cambodia. This part is of East. Okay, Southeast Asia. Okay. Yes, in Africa, we'll be looking into Nigeria, Horn of Africa, Nile River, Sudan, Mozambique, Egypt, Mount Kilimanjaro, and Great African Rift Valley, as well as Burkina Faso and Malawi. Okay, so these are the topics we'll be looking toward the African regions. So we already spoke about Malawi, okay, and also Great Rift Valley. We'll see that in detail. Okay, Sudan is also very important because this year, I mean, there is lots of issues going around in Sudan. There is a civil war and there is a crisis going on around in Sudan. Okay. Then in Europe, in region, we'll be learning Belarus, Lithuania, Sweden, Nagorno-Karabakh region, Gibraltar. Okay. And in Americas and Australia, Israel and Nevada del Ruiz in Colombia. That is 2 regions in America. And Macquarie Islands in the Australian. Okay. So these are the places which I've identified, which was in news, like other than what we have already learned, okay, which you must know. Okay, so we'll start with Asian regions. Okay. So yes, we'll see Afghanistan, Black Sea, Kerch Strait, Jerusalem, Borneo, Cambodia, similar. So I've added Kerch Strait because we did not speak about it when we spoke about the straits. Okay, so just have a look at it. Okay, when I'm speaking. First is Afghanistan. This we have already seen many times in the last sessions. So it will be very, very familiar to you. But I'm still repeating because when I keep on repeating the places and about it, about the specifications, it will be easier for you to remember. Okay, so don't get bored because of that. Okay, so if you're talking about the bordering places around Afghanistan, who are there? Yes, STUT, right? TUT, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, right? All the central, all the 5 stans. I mean, in the 5 stans, except the K stans, we have all the 3, right? Except the K stan, we have all the 3 stans: Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan. Then we have China, right? China, India, and Pakistan. And on the other side, we have who? Iran. So China, India, and Pakistan on this side, and this side we have Iran. Okay. And yes, we have the Hind Kush Mountains here, right? And the important word, the Garland Highway, we also spoke about that. There is Mashari Sharif, Herat, then we have Kandahar, okay, Ghazni, and Kabul. Okay. So yes, then we also spoke of Zaranj Dalam. Zaranj is also part of Zaranj Dalaram Highway, okay, which is being constructed by India. Okay, so these are the important places you must know. Okay. Apart from that, yes, the famous word Durand line. There's a Durand line which separates who? Yes, Pakistan and Afghanistan. Okay. Then there's a small Wakhan corridor. Remember all these, okay? Which connects to what? Which is connected to the what? Pakistan occupied Kashmir part of India. So if there's a question that Afghanistan shares border with India, that is actually correct because India still considers POK as part of India itself. Okay. So according to, although it is not with India, I mean, it's illegally occupied by Pakistani. According to India, POK is part of what? India. Okay. So that means what? Afghanistan actually shares border with India. Okay. Yes. So we have already seen about Afghanistan earlier. Next is Black Sea. So yes, the keyword for Black Sea was RRB Gut. Okay. RRB Gut. So we have Russia, Romania, Bulgaria, Georgia, Ukraine, and Turkey. Okay. We have Russia here, Romania, Bulgaria, Georgia, Ukraine, and Turkey. Okay. Then we can see Black Sea here. Sea of Azov is here. This part is the Crimean Peninsula. Okay. Then we have Sea of Marmara. We had what here? Yes, the Bosphorus Strait, and then it's connected to the Aegean Strait. Through the Aegean Sea to the Dandenong Strait. Right? Remember all these things, right? Yes. So that was Black Sea. Okay, this we have already seen. Next important topic is Kerch Strait. So where is Kerch Strait? Yes, this part, that is the strait which connects Sea of Azov and Black Sea. So we have been seeing Crimean Peninsula, Sea of Azov, Black Sea, etc. But we did not speak about the Kerch Strait. Okay, so Kerch Strait actually connects Sea of Azov with Black Sea. Okay, yes. So if you're talking about the Ukraine part, this is the Crimean Peninsula. Is actually occupied by who? Russia. And yes, this is Russia. So what happened recently? Why is it important? Is you can see, right? If you're talking about this Crimean Peninsula is occupied by Russia since 2014. The Russians are there. This Kerch Strait, there's a bridge here, Kerch Bridge. Okay, that was the only land connection from Russia to where this Crimean Peninsula. Otherwise, Russia had to go around here through Ukraine. Okay, so what happened now is there was recently a bomb on this bridge and this bridge was collapsed. Okay, so this Kerch Bridge, which connects the Russian mainland with Crimean Peninsula, caught fire due to what? An explosion sparked by truck bomb. There was a truck bomb on this Kerch Bridge. Remember, it is the only connection between who? Russia and this Crimean Peninsula. And this Kerch Strait connects what? Sea of Azov and Black Sea. Okay. Yes. And yes, this strait actually separates the Crimean Peninsula. That is, this side there is what? Crimean Peninsula. That is, this part is also called the Kerch Peninsula. So Crimean Peninsulas, this part is what? Kerch Peninsula. Okay. So this Kerch Peninsula, this Crimea side, and what? This here, it is the Taman Peninsula of Russia. Okay. That is what is separated by the Kerch Strait. Okay. I know it's very difficult to remember these names, but just know the location of Kerch Strait. Okay. And remember the seas it's correct. It's Black Sea and Sea of Azov. Okay. Okay. So, yes. Apart from that, just near Ukraine and Russia. Okay, so there's always conflict going on there. So it's very important. Okay. Next is Jerusalem. Jerusalem is also very important because, yes, Israel's capital is now Jerusalem. But interesting fact is, this is one of the most important location or site for three Abrahamic religions, that is Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. For all three religions, this Jerusalem is very important. Okay, so yes, when we spoke about Israel, we actually saw Jerusalem. This is the location of Jerusalem. Okay, and in Palestinian part, we have East Jerusalem as well. Okay. So recently there is something called Al-Aqsa Mosque. This is the most important mosque for Islam. Okay. So recently there was tensions which happening around Jerusalem's Al-Aqsa Mosque between Palestinians and Israeli police. Okay. And remember, it is one of the most important locations for Islam. And there's something called Temple Mount near this Al-Aqsa Mount, a mosque. And that is the most important or holiest place for Judaism. Okay, so everything is in around Jerusalem. Okay, so remember the name Al-Aqsa Mosque. So there's some comparison question regarding what mosque and the place or religious places and the place corresponding places. So Al-Aqsa Mosque is in where? In Jerusalem, Israel. Okay, so yes, that was one of the news which has happened. Okay, so remember tensions has happened in around Jerusalem's Al-Aqsa Mosque, and this is one of the most important sites for who? Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. There's also something called Temple Mount, which is the holiest place for Judaism. Okay, clear? Okay. Next is Borneo. So Borneo, when we look into Indonesia, we actually studied about Indonesian islands, right? So there was Sumatra, Java, etc. And one of them is the Borneo. Okay. So why is it this Borneo very important? So you can see the location of Borneo. So we have Sumatra here, Java here, and on top we have who? Borneo. Okay. So yes, why is Borneo important? It's about Java Sea. Okay. Here we have the Malaysia. Okay, we'll see that. Indonesia, like when we spoke about the capital of Indonesia, we spoke about Jakarta. Jakarta is actually sinking. Okay, due to what? Climate change and sea level rise. Jakarta is sinking. So Jakarta is in Java part. Okay, so Indonesia is shifting the capital from Jakarta to Borneo. Okay, so to the Borneo island. That is one of the biggest islands of Indonesia along with Sumatra, and they are trying to shift it to this Borneo. Okay, and it is the third largest island in the world and the largest in Asia, Borneo. Okay, so you can see it's above Java Sea. This side we have what? Sumatra here, Java below it. Okay, and this here is the Sulawesi. Okay, so these are part of what? Indonesia. So Sulawesi here is here, Java and Java Sea is here, and Sumatra is here. So Borneo is located somewhere in between there. Okay. And another interesting fact is Indonesia is not just the country which have what? Their role in what? Borneo. Okay. It's actually divided between three countries, Borneo. Okay. So there is Malaysia on top. So there is Sarawak and Sabah part of Malaysia. This much is what? Indonesia. Okay. And this small one on top, that is Brunei. Okay. So majority of the area is with whom? Indonesia. So we have almost 73% of the land is with what? Indonesia. And above that we have what? Malaysia. Malaysia means it's basically what? Sabah and Sarawak region. Okay. Then a small part of it goes to who? The Brunei. Okay. So remember in the north, the eastern Malaysian states of Sabah and Sarawak make up to 26% of the land. Okay, apart from that, there is also Brunei. So three countries make up Borneo. Okay, so that is Brunei, Malaysia, and Indonesia. Okay, clear? Okay. Next is Semeru volcano. This is also very important because this recently erupted. Okay. So it is in Indonesia. It's somewhere around here. There's a Mount Semeru in Java. Okay, Java Islands of Indonesia. So Semeru volcano recently erupted. Okay, that is why this is also very important. Okay, so remember this is also part of Pacific Ring of Fire. Okay, this part, because Indonesia is in the Pacific Ocean. Okay. Yes, one side there is Pacific, on the other side there is Indonesia. Okay. Also, okay, this Semeru, it's actually in the border. Okay, that's a ridge. Okay. So Semeru volcano recently erupted, and this is also known as Great Mountain. It is the highest volcano in Java. Okay, and the most active. So there are so many active volcanoes. So when we speak of Pacific Ring of Fire, there are so many spots around Pacific which are regions of high volcanic eruptions. Okay, one among that is Indonesia. Okay, so we have something of Krakatoa, etc. in Indonesia. Okay, so yes, Mount Semeru is recently erupted volcano. It's in Java. Okay, and why does volcanic eruption happen? Yes, when two plates collide, when continental collision happens, or continental plate and oceanic crust collision happens, one sinks under the other. So that means in that area there is high chances of what? Volcanic eruption. Right. So in this case, it is what? It is a subduction of Indo-Australian plate below the Sunda plate. Okay. So there is an Indo-Australian plate. Okay. And there is a Sunda plate. So this Indo-Australian plate is going below who? The Sunda plate. So Sunda plate is also part of the Eurasian plate. Okay. So this Indo-Australian plate is going below the Sunda plate. Okay, that is why there is Mount Sumeru which is erupting. Okay, here. So it is also known as what, the Great Mountain, and it's located in what, Java Islands of Indonesia. Okay, Sumeru volcano. It is in Indonesia. Okay, so Sumeru, even if you does not have a prelims question, you can always use this Sumeru volcano as a recent example of volcanic eruption when you write mains. Okay, mains answers. GS1 mains answers. Okay, and remember it is part of what? Yes, there is an Indo-Australian plate and Sunda plate. This has gone below, and that is why there is volcanic eruption. And yes, apart from that, yes, there is a trench called the Sunda Trench, which is also part of the Java Trench. Okay, so Java Trench, what is trench? Yes, when this goes like this, that is when one plate go below the other, there is a depression formed there. That is called trench. Okay, it's kind of a what, depression, deep part. When two plates collide and one go below the other, there'll be a trench formed, a crack kind of thing. Okay. Okay, so that was Sumeru volcano of Indonesia. Next is Cambodia. Okay, where is Cambodia? It is in Southeast Asia. Okay, so yes, Cambodia. You can see the bordering states. Who borders Cambodia? There is Thailand, Laos, and Vietnam. Okay, so this is called as, yes, CMLV is there. Myanmar is on the other side. Okay, just 1 second. Okay, can you hear me? Okay, so yes, yes, we are speaking about Cambodia. Okay, so yes, Cambodia. So we have, yes, Thailand, Laos, and Vietnam. Okay, so on top we have Thailand. We have also Laos and Vietnam. Okay, this Mekong River is also very important. So you can see this Mekong River, right? Flows through Thailand, Laos, and yes, through Cambodia, through Vietnam, and then empties it to South China Sea. Okay, so this is important because there is a cooperation called Mekong Ganga Cooperation. Okay, Mekong Ganga Cooperation is very important. Okay, earlier it was before BIMSTEC was given more importance, as Mekong Ganga was what was given a lot of importance or emphasis in earlier times. Okay, now it is not that important, but still, just know about it. Okay, so it has what, 6 member countries. So it will be all the countries in and around what, Ganga and Mekong. Okay, so basically it is CMLV, that is Cambodia, Myanmar, Laos, and Vietnam, along with what, Thailand and India. Okay, so CMLV plus Thailand and India. That is Mekong Ganga Cooperation, member countries. Okay, so yes, next is, why are we studying about Cambodia? Why are we giving so much emphasis to Cambodia? Yes, there is one Angkor Wat temple complex in Cambodia, and that is being restored by who? India. Okay, so there is Angkor Wat temple complex, and which is restored by who? India. Okay, yes. So on there's one more thing which I missed out. You can see Gulf of Thailand. Okay, so on one side of Cambodia, that is what we have, the Gulf of Thailand as well. Okay, and yes, you can see Cardamom Mountains also here. Yes, an interesting thing is, even India has Cardamom Mountains. Okay, in Kerala, in the southernmost part of the hills in the southern hills, we have Cardamom Mountains, Cardamom Hills as well. Okay, so Cambodia also has Cardamom Mountains. Okay, so yes, this this is important because because of the Angkor Wat temples. Okay, so whenever you're studying history, you would be learning about Angkor Wat temples. So I'll just give you a brief about Angkor Wat temple since we have to learn about Cambodia. Okay. Okay, if you're talking about Angkor Wat temple, yes, it is one of the religious complexes where in Cambodia. Okay, it is a temple complex at Angkor, Cambodia. It's vast, religious, and it has more than 1,000 buildings. Okay, it's so big. Okay, it was actually built by the King Suryavarman of the 12th century. Suryavarman II of 12th century. And yes, as of now, it is a Buddhist temple complex. Now Angkor Wat is a Buddhist temple complex, but it was not historically a Buddhist temple complex. Remember that, okay? Although now it is considered as a Buddhist temple complex, it wasn't so earlier. Okay, it was actually dedicated to who? The Hindu god Vishnu. Okay, yes, and now later on became what? Part of Buddhism. Okay, so earlier it was built for Vishnu. It actually also it's an indication of spread of Vaishnavism to Southeast Asia. Okay, not just of Buddhism, but also of Vaishnavism. Okay, yes. Then also we have what? The architecture of Angkor Wat. So whenever we're talking about temples, we must also look into the temple architecture. Okay, and this is one of the largest religious structures there. Okay, in the world also. And yes, there's something called Khmer architecture. Khmer temple architecture. So this Angkor Wat temple is considered as part of what? Khmer temple architecture. Okay. And what are the features of Khmer temple architecture? So in India, what are the types of architecture we have? We have Nagara style, Dravida style, Vesara style, right? And also Hoysala and so many other styles. But importantly, there is Nagara in the North Indian part and Dravida in the South India. Okay, so this Khmer architecture is also there towards the northeast of India. Okay, and yes, this is actually a continuation of that. So Khmer architecture, Angkor Wat temples were constructed according to the Khmer architecture style. Okay, clear? Okay, so the features of this Khmer architecture is we have the ogival. Okay, ogival is like a curvy linear shape. Okay, so there will be a curve and then it will be pointed at the top, right? That's that shape. Ogi kind of shape is called ogival. Okay, then there is also lotus bud shaped towers, half galleries, axial galleries, connecting enclosure and cruciform terraces. Cruciform terraces. So these are the features of what? This Khmer architecture. So Angkor Wat temples was made using the Khmer architecture style. Okay, so you can see here. See, so beautiful. So many complexes are there. This is only one side, okay? You see, there's a vast area built like so many buildings are around, so many buildings. So, and you can also see this shape, right? This is what Ogre shape. Okay. So this is under Khmer architecture style. Such buildings are called Khmer architecture. Okay. And in 1992, it was given what? UNESCO World Heritage Site. And Angkor Wat is said to represent what? Mount Meru. Okay, which is also called the home of gods according to Hindu and Buddhist religious beliefs. Okay, so Mount Meru. Okay. Then, yes, the city of Angkor, home to Angkor Wat, was also the capital of the Khmer Empire. Okay, strive between 9th and 15th century. Okay. And they have also influenced from the Chola architecture as well. They've taken, during the Dravidian style of architecture also influenced this Khmer architecture. Okay. So yes, Khmer Empire. So these are things you must remember what Angkor Wat temples. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and it's gaining a lot of significance recently. Okay, especially India has also said what we are going to develop revive the temple. Okay, and although now it is of Buddhist faith, earlier it was of what? Vaishnavism or what? Worship of Vishnu. Okay, Angkor Wat temples of Cambodia. Okay, and remember what kind of architecture it is? Khmer architecture, because Khmer empire dominated that region or ruled that region. Okay, that is Angkor Wat temples of where? Cambodia. Okay, so these are things you must know about Cambodia. Clear? Okay, let's move on. Okay, so we have covered almost the major regions in Asia. So I think we'll just have a quick look into it before just moving on to African regions. Okay, so we have Asian regions, Africa, Afghanistan. We have looked at several times. Okay, I'm not going to talk about it. Then we have Black Sea. Just remember Arabic, Russia, Romania, Bulgaria, Georgia, Ukraine, and Turkey. Then the Kurd Strait is between who? Yes, Azov and Sea of Azov and Black Sea. Yes, it's mainly because it got bombed. Kurds bridge got bombed recently, and yes, on one side we have Crimea and Russia. This was the only land link to of Russia to the Crimean Peninsula, and we have Kerch Peninsula on one side and Taman Peninsula on the other side, on the Russian side. Okay, then Jerusalem, Israel. We also saw that we have West Bank. Sorry, in Israel, it's a most important place in where both Israel and Palestine, because it is the most important religious place for Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. Okay. Also, yes, we spoke about the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Okay, there was a conflict recently there. So Al-Aqsa Mosque, near that there's also a Temple Mount, which is revered by who? The Judaism people. Okay. Next, we spoke about Borneo, mainly because Indonesia is shifting the capital to Borneo. Okay, this is the largest island in the world. It's above above Java Sea. Okay, and bottom we have Sumatra, Java, and on the east we have on the eastern side we have eastern side of Borneo we have Sulawesi. Okay, yes. Apart from that, Borneo, we're talking about Borneo. It's not just Indonesia which has stake in Borneo. There are three countries: Brunei, Malaysia, and Borneo. And if you're talking about Malaysia, there are the Sarawak and Sabah region of Malaysia. Okay, is in Borneo. Okay, yes, almost 73% of the area is of Indonesia, but both Malaysia and Brunei has a small part. Okay. Next, the Semeru volcano. Yes, it is in the Java Islands of Indonesia. It erupted recently, and it is also part of the Pacific Ring of Fire. Okay. Yes, it is also part of the Pacific Ring of Fire. Okay. And why is it happening? Yes, that is a continental collision or oceanic plate collision, and the Indo-Australian plate is going below the Sunda plate. Okay, Sunda plate is actually a minor plate. It's also part of the greater Eurasian plate. Okay. Yes, there's also trench form, that is Sunda Trench, and the Java Trench is also part of Java Trench. Then Cambodia mainly we spoke about the Angkor Wat temples and also all the borders of Cambodia. Also, we spoke about the Mekong Ganga cooperation. Remember, CMLV plus Thailand and India. Okay, it's easy to remember, right? Okay. Then we spoke about the Angkor Wat temple complexes. Okay, remember it is of Khmer architecture style. Okay, it's a Buddhist temple complex of Khmer architecture. Okay, and the speciality of Khmer architecture is this oval shaped and lotus bud shaped towers, half galleries, axis galleries, connecting enclosure, cruciform terraces. Okay, and it is given the UNESCO World Heritage Site. Recently, India has told that they are going to Yes, they are going to revive these temples. Okay, they are going to rebuild the temples. Not rebuild, actually. They are going to restore the temples. Okay. Yes, and also there's Mount Meru, which is revered by both Hindu and Buddhist religious believers. And also, yes, the Khmer Empire flourished here during the 9th and 15th century. Okay, that is when this temple was constructed, in the 12th century. Okay, so these are important regions of Africa. The rest we have covered when we spoke about what the places like West Africa, West Asia, all the what Israel, Syria region. We have covered all those, right? So look into that in very much detail because this is Asia is the most important region, and high chances that UPSC will ask. Okay. If in African regions, we'll see Nigeria, Horn of Africa, the Nile River, Sudan, Mozambique, Egypt, Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania, the Great African Rift Valley, Burkina Faso, Malawi. Okay, so these are the places we'll be seeing. Okay, so in this, as I've told, Nile River and Sudan is very important for this year's films because, and also Egypt. Sorry, Egypt is also very important for this year's films. Okay, because it has been in news very frequently. Okay. So we'll start with Nigeria. So this is Nigeria. So we have the Niger River here. It is the second largest river after Nile. It is where in the West Africa. Okay, earlier when we saw the lakes, we saw Nigeria, right? So Nigeria is in West Africa. And on the top of Nigeria, we have what? The Sahel region, the famous Sahel region. Okay, there is Sahara Desert on top. Below that, Sahel region. So I think, have you heard of Sahel? What? Green belt. The Great Green Wall of Sahel region. Okay, so they're actually creating a great green wall. That is by planting so many green trees. What they're trying to do, they're trying to reduce the what expansion of the Sahara Desert by creating this great Sahel wall. Okay, so that Sahel wall is above this Nigeria. Okay, and below that we have what? The Gulf of Guinea. So Gulf of Guinea, what? Or Gulf of Guinea is part of Atlantic Ocean. Okay, so Gulf of Guinea is what? Part of Atlantic Ocean. Okay. Okay. And it is the most populous country in the African continent, Nigeria. Okay. But there's also interesting that there are so many ethnic tribes inhabited. That is 250 ethnic groups with 500 distinct languages. Okay, so they have so many languages. Okay. And another, okay, I forgot to mention that. Yeah. So we have what? Benin on one side. Yes, Niger is here on top. Chad is here. And Cameroon. These are the bordering countries. Okay. Cameroon, Chad, Niger, and Benin. Okay. Then the three largest ethnic groups are Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo. It's not that important, but when you hear the names, you must know it is from Nigeria. Okay. Hausa in the north, Yoruba in the west, and Igbo. And if I talk about the whole of Africa, Nigeria is one significant country because what a lot of what development is happening. Just like India, a lot of development is happening. Apart from like we all remember Egypt first, right? If we're talking about Africa and also South Africa, but apart from that, Nigeria is one important significant country, and it is gaining a lot of what importance in what literature, in the cinema field. A lot of Nigerian movies are getting promoted, so the whole world is getting what noting this country, Nigeria. So that is why this is very significant. Okay, so so if there is any literature, you would like hear these names: Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo tribes, etc. Okay, so these are some of the ethnic groups, but official language in Nigeria is English. Okay, and another interesting fact is one of the largest producer of 12th largest producer of petroleum in the world. They have lots of minerals. Okay, not just petroleum, but yes, petroleum itself has what given it a huge. It is the biggest part of their GDP. Okay, and 80% of government earnings. Okay. Apart from that, they have other minerals such as what coal, bauxite, tantalite, gold, tin, iron ore, limestone, niobium, lead, zinc, etc. Okay, they have lots and lots of minerals, but most of them are unexplored. Okay. Have you heard of the resource curse theory? Okay. the paradox of plenty. So it goes here. Okay. That means like if you have so much of things in hand, you don't know how to use it. And you would be always poor. Paradox of plenty. Okay. So that is also resource curse theory. So when you have resources, you don't have any income and you don't much develop. So if you take so many examples across the world, so many places which are rich in resources are not much developed. Like for example, if you take the case of India, Odisha, right, Bihar, or if you're taking Jharkhand, these regions are the mineral-rich regions of India, right? But still, it is not that much developed compared to like states such as Kerala or maybe what Gujarat, etc. Okay, so yes, so this is the resource cost theory. So Nigeria is one such country. Okay, so that is it about Nigeria. Next, we'll see Horn of Africa. So what is Horn of Africa? Like the one horn rhino's horn. Africa also has a horn. Okay, it's here. So we have seen this region when we spoke about Red Sea, Gulf of Aden, etc. So which are the countries which are part of what the Horn of Africa? We have Eritrea, Ethiopia, Djibouti, and Somalia. So these four countries are part of what the Horn of Africa. So Eritrea is there, Ethiopia, Djibouti, Somalia. So since there are only four countries, it will be easy to remember, right? So we have Eritrea, Ethiopia, Djibouti, and Somalia. Okay, and we have what Gulf of Aden here and Red Sea here. Okay, so Horn of Africa is the easternmost extension of African land. It includes the regions that is home to what the countries Djibouti, Eritrea, Ethiopia, and Somalia. These countries' cultures have been linked throughout their long histories. So this they have what similar what cultures. Okay, that is why this is considered. And yeah, there's a question regarding Horn of Africa, if it borders what the Gulf of Aden, Red Sea, etc. Who would know that, right? And the countries. Okay, you must remember this. Okay, this 1 minute. So let's continue. Okay, so that is Horn of Africa. So when you're talking about Horn of Africa, what? Which countries you must remember? Yes, it is Eritrea, Ethiopia, and Somalia, and Djibouti. Okay, clear? Okay. Next is the Nile River. This is very, very, very important. Okay, Nile River is very important. So you can see the picture here. It's flowing through so many countries. Okay, and I know it's very hard to remember all these countries, but I'll give you an idea regarding this. Okay, so it starts all the way from here, somewhere around Rwanda, Burundi it starts. It flows all the way here, through what South Sudan, Ethiopia, Sudan, Egypt, and then to Mediterranean Sea. It empties into Mediterranean Sea. That is the Nile River. Okay. Yes. So remember, it originates where in Burundi. Here we have Burundi. Okay, and it is in the south of equator. It flows northward through northeastern Africa, and then eventually enters where through Egypt. It empties to what the Mediterranean Sea. It drains out to the Mediterranean Sea. Okay, and the delta of Nile is very famous. Okay, it is actually what fan shaped, or yeah. So we'll see that. Okay, then yes, the source. Where does water come to Nile? You have Lake Victoria here. So Lake Victoria is considered as what? The water supplier to Nile. Okay. But yes, and another interesting fact is, where does Lake Victoria gets water from? There are other rivers such as Kagar River, which actually feeds what Lake Victoria. So there are so many rivers which give water to what Lake Victoria. From that Lake Victoria, what Nile gets water. Okay. Yes, and it is considered one of the longest river. Nile is the longest river in the world. Okay, you can see it here. Country covers so many countries. Okay. Okay. If you're talking about Nile Basin, yes, I told you there are so many countries. So it will be really hard to remember all the countries, right? There are so many countries. So at the bottom, we'll start. We'll start from the bottom. We have Tanzania here, right? So when we spoke about Lake Victoria, we know one of the bordering countries is what? Tanzania. So we have KTU, right? Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda. So yes, Lake Victoria. If you're talking about Lake Victoria, there will be Tanzania. Tanzania is there. Okay. Then we have in the neighborhood, we have who? Burundi and Rwanda. Burundi, Rwanda, Uganda can go together. They are close together. Burundi, Rwanda, Uganda. Okay. These three come together. Okay. Then we have who? Yes, on this side we have DR Congo and this side we have Kenya. Okay. So KTU is covered. KTU is covered Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, around what? Lake Victoria. Then we have what? Rwanda, Burundi. And on the other side, we have DR Congo. Clear? 5. Not 5. Sorry, 6. 6. Okay. Then we are going up now. So we'll study like one on this side, one on this side. So on one side, we have Ethiopia. On the other side, we have what? The South Sudan. Okay. So like the Nile is flowing. So one side we have who? Ethiopia. One side South Sudan. Again, it's flowing. We have one side we have Eritrea, and other side we have Sudan. Okay. Again, it's flowing, and finally it reaches where Egypt. Okay. So then it empties out to Mediterranean. Easy. Okay. Just remember, there is what Lake Victoria, which is also what the source of water for Nile. So we already studied Lake Victoria. For the countries bordering Lake Victoria, it is Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda, KTU. Right? And when we speak of Uganda, two countries come together with Uganda, Rwanda, and Burundi. Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi. Easy to remember. Okay. Then on one side we have what? Yes, DR Congo. Right. So we covered what? 6 countries. Right? 6 countries. Now we are going to the top. Nile is flowing. On one side we have who? Ethiopia, and on the other side we have what? South Sudan. Again, Nile is flowing. We have Eritrea on one side. We have what? Sudan on the other side. Again, it's flowing. We have Egypt. Clear? So there are a total of 11 countries through which Nile is flowing. Okay. So that is Nile River. Okay. And yes, it is fan-shaped delta, aqueduct. It's called aqueduct delta. Okay. That is how Nile empties into where? The Mediterranean. So deltas are very important, especially when you're studying for mains. Okay, prelims also they might ask that is bird food delta, cuspid delta, etc. But in Nile's case, it is arcuate delta. It's like arc or fan shape. Okay, that is how it empties into where the Mediterranean Sea. That is why it's called arc. You can see the shape here, right? It's like an arc. That's why arcuate delta. Okay. Yes, and also which are the tributaries? 2 important tributaries, the Blue Nile and the White Nile. It's given here. See, this is one tributary, Blue Nile, White Nile. And you can see this place, Khartoum. So Blue Nile and White Nile joins together in Sudan and further flows as Nile. Okay. So there is Blue Nile and White Nile, which joins together in Sudan and flows further as Nile. Okay, so when we speak about Sudan, remember, Blue Nile meets White Nile in Sudan. Okay. So yes, these are the facts you must remember about what? The Nile River. It's the longest river. It forms arcuate delta. You must remember the bordering countries. In the bottom, we have who? Yes. The source of water is Lake Victoria. So the bordering countries of Lake Victoria, KTU, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda. Along with Uganda goes Rwanda and Burundi, right? Then we also have the DR Congo, right? And we are going up on one side, Ethiopia, on the other side. We have what? This side Ethiopia, this side it's South Sudan. Again, we are going up. We have Eritrea on one side and Sudan on the other side. And finally, there is Egypt. Okay. And then it empties to Mediterranean Sea. Okay. And also remember Blue Nile and White Nile. Okay. So these are the things you must remember about who? The yes, River Nile. Okay. Okay. We'll have a quick revision later, but for now, remember these facts. Okay. Next important what country is Sudan. Okay, we actually saw Sudan when we spoke about what? Yes, the bordering countries. So who are the bordering countries of Sudan? We have 3 E's in the east, Eritrea, Ethiopia, and Egypt. 1 in the south, that is South Sudan. Then Libya there, and yes, CAR, SL CAR, that is Chad and Central African Republic. Tripoli SL CAR. Right, Tripoli SL CAR. We have 3 E in the east, Egypt, Eritrea, Ethiopia, one in the south, S in the south, that is South Sudan. Libya is there on the top. Then we have who? Yes, the Chad and Central African Republic. Okay, so these are the bordering countries of what? Sudan. Important places, Khartoum. It is the capital of Sudan. Sudan is very important for this year's games. Okay, because conflicts is going in Sudan, and yes, there is an Operation Kaveri, which is a rescue mission of what? India, Indian diaspora in Sudan. Okay, yes. Then also Sudan has one border, Red Sea, and Nile is flowing through where? Sudan. So the meeting point of what? Blue Nile and White Nile is in Sudan. Okay, yes, that is Sudan. Clear? I think at least this you must remember. That's it. Okay. And if there is some conflict location mentioned in the news, just look into that as well. You can just like take a map and just mark it down, like all the important location which comes in news. Okay. But on the basic side, you must remember these. Okay. Next is Mozambique. Mozambique, if you're talking about Mozambique, yes, this is the location of Mozambique. That means the southeastern side. Okay. So, yes. Why is it important? Is India is building a bridge in Mozambique. It's called a Busi Bridge. Busi Bridge. Mozambique is Busi. So, India is constructing what? A Busi Bridge. So, Mozambique is Busi. So, India is constructing what? A Busi Bridge. Okay. So, as a part of this bridge, so Tika, Busi, Nova, Sofala road project is there. As a part of that road project, India is constructing what? A bridge for Mozambique. That is why this Mozambique is important. Okay. So basically, it is an example of what? India-Mozambique solidarity and friendship. So whenever there is a UPSC mains question regarding Indo-African relationship, you can always give this as an example about the Busi Bridge. Okay. Apart from that, there is also India, Mozambique, Tanzania trilateral exercise. That is IMT Trilateral. So IMT Trilateral, which all countries are participating? It's India, Mozambique, and Tanzania. Okay. The joint maritime exercise among what? The navies of India, Mozambique, and Tanzania. Okay. So that is what? IMT Trilateral. So that is why Mozambique is important. So these are the two newses which make what? Mozambique important. So who are the bordering countries of Mozambique? On top we have Tanzania. Okay, here we have who? Zambia. There's a small part Malawi. Tanzania, Malawi. There's also Lake Nyasa. Right? Then we have Zimbabwe here. Then South Africa is there, and also Swaziland. Small part, Swaziland. And Maputo is the capital of Mozambique. Okay. So it's not necessary to remember the bordering countries, but just have an idea about the location. And one side we have Madagascar Sea and Indian Ocean. Sorry, Madagascar and Indian Ocean. Okay. So yes, neighbors are Tanzania, Malawi is there, Zambia, Zimbabwe, South Africa, and Swaziland. Capital is Maputo. Maputo. Okay. That is Mozambique. Okay. There's a Busi Bridge which is being constructed by India. Okay. Here. Next important country is Egypt. This is very, very, very important. Why? So this year's Republic Day. On the Republic Day, we invited who? Yes, the President of Egypt. Okay. So President of Egypt was the chief guest in this year's Republic Day. So that is why Egypt is very important. Okay. So whenever a president comes as an invitee to the Republic Day, we are trying to increase the relationship between India and that country. Okay. So there'll be so many cooperations going, especially if we're talking about IR, international relations. The Indo-Egypt relation would obviously be in use. Okay, so that is very important for mains perspective as well. Okay, so from film's perspective, you must know about Egypt and the important places in Egypt and around the bordering countries and etc. Okay, so we'll just have a quick look into the map. So yes, Egypt. On one side we have Mediterranean Sea. We have what Red Sea and Gulf of Aqaba. I mean Gulf of Suez. Here we have Gulf of Aqaba. So all these places we saw when we saw what earlier, right? The Gulf or the Straits, Suez Canal, etc. Right? We have seen it so many times. Okay, so this part is called the Sinai Peninsula. Sinai Peninsula is part of Egypt. So here we have Israel. So Egypt and Israel are also always fighting. Okay. Then we have what the bordering countries. If we are speaking about, we know Sudan is there on the bottom, and on this side there is Libya. Okay. So this is Libya and this is Sudan. Okay, and also Tropic of Cancer is passing through this, what, Egypt. Okay. Next important thing is this is our famous River Nile. So we saw it when we spoke about River Nile. So there's one lake called Lake Nasser. This lake is very important. It's one of the largest lake in Egypt. The Lake Nasser is very important. Okay. And there is also one Aswan Dam. It is one of the largest dam in the world. Aswan Dam is also very important because it was also very controversial dam. So you need not look into the details of it, but remember this Aswan Dam, it is one of the biggest dams. Okay. It's on the Nile River. Because of that, Lake Nasser is there. Lake Nasser. Okay. And yes, I think these are the basic facts we must remember. Then the Nile Delta is in Egypt. It forms what Arpe Delta, then the cities of Cairo, Giza, Alexandria. This is important. Okay. And yes, we have on one side what? The Mediterranean Sea, and on the other side we have Indian Ocean. Okay. Then the Gulf of Suez and Gulf of Aqaba. You must remember at least this. The bordering countries are Israel, Sudan, and Libya. Okay? Clear? No more doubts, right? It's okay, right? Okay. We've seen this multiple times, so I don't think it will be a problem. Okay. So another interesting, I'll tell you a few facts about Egypt, India-Egypt relationship. Have you heard about NAM, non-alignment movement? Both India and Egypt was advocates of this non-alignment movement during the Cold War era. Okay. So when there was a Cold War going between Russia and US, the USSR and the US, as well USSR. So India and Egypt and some other few more other countries are there. They decided not to join with either of the blocs. Okay, so that formed a non-alignment movement. So Egypt was a pioneer in that, and from India we had what our Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru of those times, and from Egypt there was Nasser. Okay. who was their president. Okay, they actually what was the biggest contributors of this idea of non-alignment movement. Okay, apart from that, if we talk about history, both India and Egypt has a lot of shared history. We have ancient history. There was Egyptian civilization at the times of Indus Valley civilization. So we have connection from like historical times. We have trade going on between Egypt and India. A lot and lot of trade, historical trade. Okay, so all the trade of India to the west was going through this Egypt or this Suez Canal region, this region. Okay, so that is one of the reasons why British tried to control this Suez Canal. British and French wanted this Suez Canal. Okay, and recently there was one exercise Cyclone 1. It was the first joint special forces exercise between Indian Army and Egyptian Army. Exercise Cyclone 1. Okay, between Indian Army and Egyptian Army. You must remember this exercise. There was a high chance that UPSC asked. But yes, remember like this, like if some places in news, if there's any exercise going on between India and that country, then you must remember that. Okay, exercise Cyclone 1 between Indian Army and Egyptian Army. Okay, so these are the basic facts you must remember about what Egypt. Okay. Okay. Next important place is the Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. Okay, so Mount Kilimanjaro is one of the famous peaks and the tallest one in Tanzania. Okay, this is Africa's tallest mountain. Okay, and you can see the location here. So we have Lake Victoria here, and this is where Kilimanjaro is located. Okay, it's actually a volcanic peak. Okay, it's also the largest freestanding mountain rise in the world. What does that mean? Okay, like if you talk about all the tallest peaks in the world, like for example, Mount Everest, it is part of the Himalayan ranges, right? So any mountains we speak about, it is part of some ranges. But this Kilimanjaro stands alone. It is not part of any mountain range. So that is the largest, that is why it is called the largest freestanding mountain. Okay, and it is also made of stratovolcano, that is a composite volcano. Okay, that means it has about multiple cones of acidic and basic volcano flowing. It has 3 cones, that is Kibo, Mavensi, and Shira. Okay, 3 volcanic cones are also there. Okay, and also it is part of UNESCO World Heritage Site. Okay. Yes, that is Mount Kilimanjaro. It is in Tanzania. Okay, so like I wouldn't say like it is that important, but just remember the location. It's in Tanzania, and it is one of the tallest peak in Africa, the whole of Africa. Okay, it is also UNESCO World Heritage Site, Mount Kilimanjaro. Okay, next important one is the Great African Rift Valley. Okay, so when we spoke about the Great Lakes of Africa, where is it located? It is in the Great African Rift Valley. But another interesting fact is this Great African Rift Valley is not just in Africa. It's actually called the Great Rift Valley. It starts from Syria. It's there on top, Syria, like this, somewhere there. It starts, it's from Syria. It goes all the way. There is like, Jordan, Syria, Jordan, the border of Jordan. So there is a Jordan River there. You saw it. So Jordan River is a part of this Great Rift Valley. Okay. Then we have through Jordan comes all the way through Israel comes where? To the Red Sea. Okay. Red Sea also. Yes. It actually what does Rift Valley do? The plates will diverge. So there is an Arabian plate here, and the bottom there is African plate. African plate means there is 2 parts. We'll see that first. First we'll see there's one Arabian plate and there is one African plate, and it is diverging. Okay, and there is a Rift Valley going on like this. Okay, and next part, if you're taking the continuation, it goes like this. Okay, So when it goes like this, so one part is going like this to the Gulf of Aden region, and it is continuing to Indian Ocean. Like if you're taking the Chagos, Socotra, all the Indian Ocean ridge, right? It's continuing as an Indian Ocean. It is continuing to the Indian Ocean. Okay. Then if you're talking about this, what the African countries, it is actually dividing Africa into two. Okay. So there is a Nubian plate in Africa and Somalian plate. It's actually dividing that as well. The Great African Rift Valley. Okay. So yes. So in Eastern Africa, the valley divides into Eastern Rift and Western Rift. Okay. There are two types, and Western Rift is also called the Albertine Rift. Okay. And that is where what the deepest lakes are found. Okay, we have all the lakes such as Lake Rudolph, Lake Victoria, Lake Tanganyika, Lake Nyasa, or Malawa Lake. Okay, all the lakes which I've studied, most of them are in this region. Okay, that is the Great African Rift Valley. So this is like important mainly because what? Remember the Great Africa. If you're talking about just the Great African Rift Valley, you can speak about only this part. But the Great Rift Valley is where starts from about Syria. Okay, Syria, it comes all the way through Jordan to Israel to the Red Sea, extends to Gulf of Aden on one section. Then what the other part comes to Africa, divides the Eastern Africa in two parts, West African Rift and East African Rift. Okay, so there's a Nubian plate and what Somalian plate, which is also drifting apart. Okay, so basically Africa, like this is a what? This is Arabian plate and this is Africa. It's splitting like this. And in Africa, it is splitting like this. Okay. Okay. So yes, that is Great African Rift Valley. Next, we have Burkina Faso. This is also one country in Africa. Yes. You can see it's here. Okay. So Ivory Coast is there, Ghana is there, Benin is there, Togo is there, Nigeria, Niger is there, Mali is there. Okay. So Burkina Faso is, if you ask me if it's that important, you just know the location of it. Okay. It is actually landlocked. Okay. And yes, it is also a former French colony. Why is it important? It's because recently a coup happened. Okay. A coup happened in Burkina Faso. Okay. And there has been a lot of Islamic terrorism. Okay, from from Mali. This Mali region, which is infested by Islamic terrorism, is also spreading toward Burkina Faso. And because of that, a coup happened in recent. Okay, so that is why this was in news. Just remember the location. Okay, and this, what, Ouagadougou, this place, Ouagadougou, whatever you call it. So it's the capital city of Burkina Faso. Okay, just remember so much. Okay, it's in West Africa. Okay, see, you might not get the direct answer if some question has come, but you can always eliminate options if you know at least this. Okay. Yes. Next is Malawi. Talking about Malawi, we already saw Malawi, right? When we spoke about Malawi Lake. So, yes, this is where Malawi is located. Okay, so MMT, Mozambique, Malawi, and Tanzania are the bordering the Malawi Lake. Also, we saw the Malawi already. Okay, the country bordering Malawi Lake is Malawi. Okay, this is the country of Malawi. So on one side we have the Malawi Lake. Okay, a small part of Tanzania is here. This part is Zambia. This is Mozambique. Okay. Yes, so it is a landlocked country. Okay, and it is also called as Nyasa land because Malawi Lake is also called Nyasa. Okay, it is bordered by Zambia on one side, Tanzania, Mozambique, and to the east, west, and south. Okay, so the lake, we already saw this, Lake Malawi, it's called Lake Nyasa. It's in Tanzania, and Lake Nyasa, Lago Nyasa in Mozambique, and it is the southernmost one part of what the Great African Rift Valley, southernmost lake. Okay, so just remember this. This was also in news regarding what some heavy rainfall and climate. This region did not receive much rainfall. Okay, so you need not remember that, but remember the location of Malawi. Okay. So that is of African regions. So I think most of the regions, I think it is familiar with you, for you. Okay. So we'll just do a quick revision of African regions, and then we'll move on to European and the other regions. Okay. So where did this go? Okay. So we started off with Nigeria. Okay. So yes, it's a West African country. On top we have the Sahel region. On one side we have Gulf of Guinea in the Atlantic Ocean. Yes, it is the most populous country. Okay, and the bordering countries are Benin, Niger, Chad, and Cameroon. Okay, there are so many ethnic groups, mainly Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo. Okay, official language is English, and it is a resource-rich country. There is most of the income is from petroleum. Apart from that, there are so many other resources which are unexplored. Okay, there's the Horn of Africa. We have Eritrea, Ethiopia, Djibouti, and Somalia, which are part of Horn of Africa. 4 countries. Okay, it is the easternmost extension of African land. Yes, the countries we spoke about, and the countries have similar cultures. On one side, we have all Red Sea and Gulf of Aden. The other side, Indian Ocean. Okay, then the Nile River. This is very important. Originates where? Yes, Burundi in the south. It flows through Africa and empties the Mediterranean Sea at Egypt. Okay. Yes. The sources Lake Victoria, and yes, Lake Victoria is also fed by other rivers. Okay, and this Nile is the longest river in the world. Apart from that, we spoke about the bordering countries. So Lake Victoria, we spoke about the bordering countries. So Lake Victoria, KTU. This is Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. Then talking about Uganda, you can also talk about Burundi and Rwanda. Then we also spoke about DR Congo. So going up, on one side we have Ethiopia, and on the other side we have who? South Sudan. Again, we are going up. We have one side Eritrea, and other side we have who? Sudan. Again, we have Egypt. So there are 11 countries. Okay. So the Nile River forms Arcuate Delta. That is a fan-shaped delta, cone-shaped delta. Okay, so it's like an arc. Okay, and there are 2 tributaries. There is important tributaries, Blue Nile and White Nile, and joins at Khartoum in Sudan. Okay, and closest Nile. Okay, in Sudan, yes, it Tripoli in the east, one in the south, S in the south, L, SL, and Tar. Okay, so Egypt, Eritrea, Ethiopia, South Sudan, Libya, Chad, and Central African Republic. Okay, Khartoum is also there. So Tripoli, SL, Tar. Then Mozambique. Mozambique is where? In the southeast of Africa. Okay, yes. It is important mainly because we are constructing a Buzi bridge. Okay, India is constructing a Buzi bridge. Okay, as part of India-Mozambique partnership or solidarity and friendship. Apart from that, there is a trilateral exercise. That is India, Mozambique, and Tanzania. Okay, IMF Trilat. Okay, IMT Trilat. Okay, it's between the navies of India, Mozambique, and Tanzania. Okay, then Egypt, it's very important mainly because the president visited. We spoke about all the bordering areas and Sinai Peninsula and the Lake Nasser, Aswan Dam. It's very important. Okay, and the Delta, Nile Delta. Okay, yes. Apart from that, there is non-alignment movement and ancient civilization link. Then exercise Cyclone is the first joint special forces exercise between Indian Army and Egyptian Army. Okay. Then Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. Yes, this is the highest peak in Africa. Okay. Yes, it is the one of the largest freestanding mountains in the world. Okay, and Kilimanjaro is volcanic mountain, that is stratovolcano and composite volcano is found there. 3 cones are there, Kibo, Marwensi, and Shira. It's not that important. Just remember, it has 3 cones. It's a stratovolcano. Okay, is Himalayas a volcanic mountain? No, it is not. Okay. Remember, Himalayas is not a volcanic mountain. Okay. But yes, Kilimanjaro is a volcanic mountain. It's actually, I think, dormant or extinct, I think. It did not erupt in the recent past. It's extinct. Okay, the park is UNESCO, also considered as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, Kilimanjaro. Okay. Then that is Great African Rift Valley. Yes, it starts all the way from Syria and up to what? The central Mozambique region. It's so long. Okay. And it is also what splitting the Arabian plate from the African plate through what? Red Sea and Gulf of Aden. And yes, Africa, it's again splitting into two. Yes, the East Rift and Western part. That is Nubian plate and Somalian plate. Again, all the Great Lakes are also all in this region. Deep lakes are in this western part of this ridge. Yeah, it's also called the Albertine Rift. Okay. Then Burkina Faso. We saw the location of Burkina Faso, right? Then it's also landlocked and it is in West Asia. It is a former colony of what? French colony. And recently a coup happened in Burkina Faso. Remember this place, Ouagadougou. Okay, that's it. In Malawi, Lake Malawi, we spoke about the location also we saw. Yes, we have Zambia. Or it is a landlocked country and it's also called Nyasaland. Zambia, Tanzania, and Mozambique. Okay. Yes. Then also we spoke about Lake Malawi earlier. Okay, I'm not elaborating. Okay, next we'll see the European regions. So important ones in use were Belarus, Lithuania, Sweden, Nagorno-Karabakh, Gibraltar. So these regions, these 5 regions, you must remember. Okay. We'll start with Belarus. Where is Belarus? Yes, this is also landlocked. Okay. So Belarus is very important mainly because it is one of the bordering countries of Russia and Ukraine. Okay. So it is in a conflicting situation. So it was a part of erstwhile USSR. And since it is near the closest neighbor of Russia and Ukraine together, this is very important. Okay. And Minsk, the capital Minsk is also been on news often. Okay. It lies in Eastern Europe. It is part of what? The USSR, earlier erstwhile USSR. It's also part of Slavic republics. Okay. So Russia and Ukraine is also part of Slavic republic. Okay. Yes. And it is also part of EU, not EU. EU is European Union. This is part of Eurasian Economic Union, EU. Okay. So it's the eastern countries. So they just remember, if you're taking on the whole of Europe, the western part of Europe is mostly part of what? The European Union, EU. And the eastern part is part of what? The EU, Eurasian Economic Union. Okay. Yes. And yes, recently India, Belarus is sharing a strong ties, and there is so many trade going on. Market economy status to it's given, India's given what market economy status to Belarus. That's why it was in news. Okay. And yes, this person, Belarus, is somebody who supports India like anything. Like whatever be it, UNSC or what, nuclear supplier group, whatever be it, entry to NAM. Whatever India needs entry to, this Belarus supports. And this Belarus is asking India to support it to enter to NAM. Okay. So, yes, India and Belarus have very cordial relationship. Okay. So, remember, it is in between, squeezed between Russia and Ukraine. And on the other side, we have who? Baltic states, Latvia, Lithuania, and also Poland. Okay, Russia, Ukraine on one side, Poland on the other side, and Lithuania and Latvia. Okay. These are border countries. So, Belarus. Okay? Clear? Yes, next is Lithuania. Lithuania we already saw when we spoke about Belarus. It's here, okay? So, on one side we have who? Belarus. Poland is there. Latvia is there. A small part of Russia is there, and Baltic Sea. Okay. So, Lithuania is also called the Baltic state. Okay. There are 3 Baltic states, that is the states on the border of Baltic Sea. So 3 countries are called the Baltic states, that is Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. Okay. I'm specifically mentioning this because UPSC has asked in prelims. Latvia, Lithuania, and what? Estonia. Okay. So Lithuania is a country in the Baltic region of Europe. Okay. Yes. It is one of the 3 states in the Baltic state and lies on the eastern shore of Baltic Sea. So you can see this is the Baltic Sea, and on the eastern shore we have what? The Lithuania. Okay. Yes. It shares land boundary with Latvia. Here we have Latvia. Here we have who? Belarus to the east and south, and Poland here, and small part of Russia here. Okay. At least this you must remember regarding Lithuania. Okay. So remember it is a Baltic state. Okay. Okay. Next important place we must remember is Kaliningrad. Kaliningrad. So it's a very tough name, but you saw the small piece of land here. I'll show you a bigger picture. Yes. So the whole of Russia is here. So we have Lithuania here, Poland here. There's a small part squeezed between Poland and Russia. Poland and Lithuania, which is of Russia. Okay. So this region belongs to Russia, and that region is called Kaliningrad. Okay. So this is Kaliningrad. Okay. So it is a Russian exclave sandwiched between who? Poland and Lithuania. Okay. So yes, it was actually captured by Soviet troops from the Nazi Germany in April 1945, and then became part of the Soviet territory as part of Potsdam Agreement. Okay, and it was renamed from German. In German, it was called Königsberg. It was renamed as Kaliningrad. Okay, Kaliningrad. So remember Kaliningrad. I know it's tough to remember. Just remember so much. It's between who? Poland and Lithuania. And on the other side, we have what? Baltic Sea. Okay. So Russia's extended arm. It's kind of a cut off arm on the other side. Exclave is there. Between and the squeeze between it cannot sustain alone. So the squeeze between what? It's suffocating between what? Lithuania and Poland. Okay. And one side we have what? The Baltic Sea. Okay, so that is Kaliningrad. Okay, next is Sweden. So Sweden, this part is Sweden. So it is a part of Scandinavian mountains. It is a Scandinavian country. Okay, Sweden. So we have the Norwegian Sea here, North Sea is here, and here we have Baltic Sea and Gulf of Bothnia. Okay, Sweden has also been in news because India and Sweden is celebrating its 75 years of bilateral relationship. That means since independence, Sweden has been supporting India. Okay, so we are celebrating 75 years of independence this year, and also we are celebrating 75 years of India-Sweden relationship. Okay, so that is why this is important. Okay, so in 2023, Sweden is also celebrating anniversaries of its famous brands. Okay, Ericsson, SKF, Alfa Laval, and Volvo. Okay, this is notable Swedish companies which has a huge base in India. Okay, so you would all remember the first phone to reach India would be Ericsson. After that, Nokia came, right? So I mean mobile phone. I'm talking about mobile phone. Okay, so yes, so that is Sweden. Okay, so what? We have Finland on one side. So it is a Scandinavian country. Okay. Here, it's also called a Nordic country. Okay. Sweden. Yeah. And yes, Stockholm. Stockholm is one of the cities, capital city. It is the capital city of Sweden. So you would have heard of Stockholm Conference. So many things related to Stockholm, right? So remember that place is in Sweden. And there's another one, Gothenburg, which is also in Sweden. Okay. These are basic things you must remember about Sweden. Like this Nagorno-Karabakh. So where is exactly is Nagorno-Karabakh? Okay, it is actually here. It's actually in the Azerbaijan. Okay, you can see Azerbaijan here. This part of Azerbaijan, the western part of Azerbaijan, that is Nagorno-Karabakh. But what is the problem here? It is actually mainly populated by Armenians. Okay, so Armenians call this region Artsakh. Okay, so it is a landlocked region in the South Caucasus. That is the mountain ranges of South Caucasus. It is a mountainous and heavily forested region that under international law is recognized as part of Azerbaijan. So law recognizes this part as what? Nagorno-Karabakh as part of Azerbaijan, but Armenia claims it as what? Because of the people there as they are. Yes, there's a conflict there. That is why this was in this Nagorno-Karabakh region. Remember, it is in Azerbaijan, but Armenia claims as its part. Okay. And yes, Azerbaijan is sharing its border with who? Yes, Caspian Sea. Okay. Clear? So we remember Tariq. Let's see Tariq and A is Azerbaijan. Okay. So that is Azerbaijan, and then the place in Azerbaijan is Nagorno-Karabakh. Okay. Armenians are staying there. Clear? Okay. Next is Gibraltar. Gibraltar is also very important. We spoke when we spoke about what? The Strait of Gibraltar, right? Strait of Gibraltar connects Mediterranean Sea and Atlantic Ocean. Okay. So, yes, this part is the Iberian Peninsula of Europe. Okay, the southernmost tip of Iberian Peninsula is Gibraltar. Okay. So, yes, Gibraltar shares, yes, land border with Spain. Yes, it also shares maritime border with Morocco. So, on top we have Spain and bottom we have what? Morocco. That is, this is Europe and this is Africa. Okay. So, Morocco and Spain. And remember, it has no contact with Atlantic Ocean. Although it is here, the place Gibraltar has no contact with who? The Atlantic Ocean. Okay. And yes, it connects, the Strait of Gibraltar connects Mediterranean Sea and Atlantic Ocean, but the place Gibraltar does not have any contact with what? Atlantic Ocean. Rather, it shares border with the Mediterranean Sea. Okay. And this Gibraltar is a part of UK. Okay. The treaty was ceded to UK in perpetuity under the Treaty of Utrecht in 1713. Since then, Gibraltar is part of who? UK. Okay. And this Gibraltar is very important mainly because of the trade. It is an important part in what? International trade and sea lines of communication. Okay. So that is Gibraltar. Okay. So with that, we have covered the European regions. We'll just have a quick revision, then move on to America and Australia. Okay. We'll just finish it in maybe 5-10 minutes. So yes, European regions. We are talking about who? Is Belarus, Lithuania, Sweden, Nagorno-Karabakh, and Gibraltar. So Belarus, yes, it's important because it's bordering Russia and Ukraine. Capital is Minsk. It was also USSR. It's also part of what? EU, Eurasian Economic Union. Okay. So the Belarus shares a strong relationship with what? The market economy of Belarus. And yes, Belarus is one of the what? Biggest friends of India because it supports India everywhere. Okay. Wherever India wants membership, Belarus supports us. Okay. And Belarus is also asking India support to what? Make it a part of NAM. Okay. Then there is Lithuania. Lithuania, we're talking about Lithuania. Yes, it is one of the Baltic states of Europe. So, which are the other two Baltic states? There are 3 Baltic states: Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. Okay, 3 Baltic states. On side there is Baltic Sea, and on this side we have on top Latvia. On the side we have what? Belarus. Then we have Poland and Russia. Okay, and the Russian land squeezed between what? The Russian land squeeze between Lithuania and Poland is called what? Kaliningrad. Okay, so Lithuania and Poland is squeezing the land of Russia, Kaliningrad. Okay. Yes, on one side we have what? The Baltic Sea, and it was actually captured by the Soviet troops from Nazi Germany. Okay, during the and as part of Potsdam Agreement, it became part of the Soviet territory. Okay, it was part of Germany earlier. In Sweden, India and Sweden is celebrating what? It's 75 years of bilateral relationship. Okay, there are countries such as Ericsson, SK, Alpha, Laval, and Volvo, which are what? Of significant which are significant players in India. Okay. Then there is Nagorno-Karabakh region in Azerbaijan. Okay, Armenians are actually occupying this region, and there is a conflict between Armenians and Azerbaijan. Okay. Yes. Then the Gibraltar. Who controls Gibraltar? It is UK. Okay. So we have Strait of Gibraltar, which connects what Mediterranean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean. Okay. Yes, it is the southernmost tip. Remember Iberian Peninsula. Okay, Iberian Peninsula. There's also Catalonia. This is Spain. There's somewhere around here. Okay. It was in news in early times, but it was also asked for films, but not important this year. Okay. So Portugal, Spain, Gibraltar, France, etc. all come together to form what the Iberian Peninsula. Okay. So Gibraltar shares land boundary with Spain and maritime boundary with what? Morocco. Okay. And it is open only to Mediterranean Sea and no contact with Atlantic Ocean. Okay. And there is Treaty of Utrecht, through which Britain gained control over Gibraltar. Okay. Okay, now we'll move on to the last few places, that is Americas and Australia. Okay, so we'll quickly finish it. So there is Easter Island, then there's Nevado del Ruiz, Colombia. Then there is Macquarie Island. The first two are part of the Americas. The second one is part of what? Continent of Australia. Okay, let's start with Easter Island. So you can see Easter Island here. It is off the coast of what? South America. It's between Australia and South America. This is Easter Island. Why is it important? Yes, it is one of the tiny remote island in the Pacific Ocean. And recently, what? The Moai statue. Okay, so archaeologists have discovered a lot of Moai statue. Okay, it was actually found where it was hidden below a dry lake bed. Okay, it is actually monolithic human figure. That means it is made of one single stone by the Rapa Nui people. Okay, who lived in Easter Island between what? 1250 and 1500s. Okay, so Rapa Nui people. So if there is any question regarding Easter Island, if there is comparison, Easter Island, Rapa Nui people, and Maui monolithic human figures are made by them. Okay, so recently discovered. Okay, Easter Island is a land and special. It is actually a special territory of Chile. Okay, it's part of Chile, and it is what? It is in southeastern Pacific Ocean. So the whole of Pacific Ocean, it is in the southeastern part near Chile. Okay, so Easter Island is a volcanic island. Okay, and it is what consists of 3 extinct connected volcanoes. The island is famous for nearly 1,000 extant monumental statues called Maui, which were created by the early Rapa Nui people. So Rapa Nui people are people who created what? The Maui statue. I mean Maui monolithic stones or monolithic statues. And this region is given also the World Heritage Site, UNESCO World Heritage Site status. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So these are the facts you must remember about Easter Island. So why is it important? Is like a fire happened in Easter Island, and there was panic that this would all disappear, and then the archaeologists and scientists discovered this Maui statue again. Okay, that is why it is important. Okay, next important place is Nevado del Ruiz, Colombia. This is also important. It's here. Okay, why is it important? Because it is a volcano. People are being evacuated from around this area of Nevado del Ruiz in Colombia. People are being evacuated because there is a possibility that this would erupt. Okay, so it is on the border of departments of Caldas and Tolima and Colombia. It's in basically Central America. Okay, or maybe northern part of South America, Colombia. Okay, so it is a stratovolcano composed of many layers of lava alternating with hardened volcanic ash and other pyroclasts. Okay, so it is a stratovolcano. Nevado del Ruiz, and Nevado del Ruiz is a volcano in Colombia. Just remember this. Okay. Clear. Next is an Australian island, that is Macquarie Island. Okay, it is in Australia. So recently, the government of Australia proposed the expansion of the marine park in this region. Okay, Macquarie Island Economic exclusion zone. So you can see the location of Macquarie Island. It's actually off the coast of what? Australia, below New Zealand and Australia, somewhere around here. Okay, Macquarie Island is located where? Around 1,500 kilometers southeast of Tasmania. Okay, and it is the exposed crest of, it has an exposed crest of about 1,600 kilometers long undersea Macquarie Ridge. Okay, there's a Macquarie Ridge which has been exposed here. Okay, the crest part. What is crest? The highest point of a what? Arch or what? A hill. That is crest. Okay, so that if we're talking about ridge, the top point of the ridge is exposed. So why is it significant, Macquarie Ridge? This is one of the regions which what actually divides, like the only piece of land in the whole of, form the entire oceanic crust. One point is it is totally formed with oceanic crust. Another important significance is there is something called Antarctic circumpolar circulation. So water is completely circulating around the Antarctic pole. So there are three ridges which actually disrupts this. And one of it is what? Macquarie Ridge. Okay. So that is another significance. One thing is it is completely made of what? Oceanic crust. There is no continental crust. Okay, it's totally of ocean. And yes, it actually what impedes the flow of Atlantic circumpolar circulation. Okay. So ocean current is going totally over like this in Atlantic Ocean. So this is the Antarctic pole. So water is just going like this, and there'll be three ridges like this. Okay, which disrupts this flow, and one among this is Macquarie Ridge. Okay, this results in distinct differences between western and eastern side of the ridge. Okay, so the species there is also different. Earlier it was part of the Tasmanian Reserve. It was already protected as part of Tasmanian Reserve, and it was also World Heritage Site. Okay, so these are the points you must remember regarding what? This Macquarie Ridge. Okay. So yes, with that we'll come to an end. So I will just have a quick look about the last three locations as well, and then we'll stop. So we spoke about, yes, Easter Island. Easter Island, where it is off the coast of South America and part of Chile. Yes, so there's something called what? Monolithic human figures by the Rapa Nui people of what? 1250 and 1500 years, between who lived between those years. Rapa Nui people. Okay, this is discovered recently, and it is part of Chile. It is in Southeast Pacific Ocean. It is also what? Volcanic high island, and there are so many monumental statues. Okay. So already got UNESCO World Heritage Site status. This, okay. There's also Rapa Nui National Park also. Then there's Nevado del Ruiz. It is a volcano in Colombia which is about to erupt, and people are being evacuated. Remember at least this. It is a stratovolcano. Okay. Then there's Macquarie Island. It is in what? Australia. Okay. So the government is trying to expand this, expand the marine part, and covering Macquarie Island exclusive economic zone. And it is part of Tasmania. So this is Tasmania here and Macquarie Island here. It's actually part of Tasmania. Earlier it was also covered under the Tasmanian Park area. Then there's something called the Macquarie Ridge. Okay, remember it is the only ocean, and it is the only crust in the entire world which is completely made of what? Oceanic crust. Okay, the only piece of land. Okay, then there is Antarctic circumpolar circulation, and this Macquarie Ridge actually disrupts this Antarctic circumpolar circulation. Okay, there will be differences because of this ridge. There will be west and east side differences of species. Okay, then it is already part of what? Tasmanian Reserve, and it is also a World Heritage Site. Okay. So yes, with that we come to an end of all the important sites which was in news, or which are regions which was in news. So I think all of you would have got a good idea of all the important places which was in news, and also all the important regions you must focus when you're preparing for places in news in the world with regard to UPSC. I wouldn't suggest you to end with this slide. You must keep on researching, and whichever comes in news again, you must keep a note of it and then continue your studies. Okay. So you'll get a basic structure and idea how to study the places now. So this should be your main focus areas where you must study, what you must study. Then you must expand your the places you know. Okay. So yes, thank you. Next, in the next sessions, we'll be discussing some places in India also. India, you'll have a lot more places to learn. Okay. So with that, we'll end this session. Okay. Thank you. See you all again. Bye.